And action.
Hello.
Hi,
guys. All right. Today we're just talking about stockpiling when you can't, how I get it all done, because I'm just superwoman. No, today, so we did an Ask Tawra and Ask Jill on our community tab about 10 days ago or so. And last week, we had Mom answering her Ask Jill questions, and this week we're answering the Ask Tawra questions. And we had one question that came over and over and over again, and that was, how do you do it all? How do you stockpile and get the video done and all of that? So we are going to discuss that today. And Mike's going to pull your questions. So if you have questions for me, go ahead and put them in the description, and he will email them to me as I go through the other ones. And if I see something, I'm sorry.
I know, I'm getting the same thing.
We have a fan blowing.
Fan's blowing, and one little hair.
One
hair keeps blowing on mine too. Pull it out.
And so I will go ahead and pull that out. You are welcome, Darla. She said, thank you, Wyoming. Okay, so I'm going to briefly touch on this.
Wyoming's getting it together now that we've moved here, aren't you? Sure.
Wyoming is the focus of the nation today.
Oh,
and I'll just say, can I tell him your Ross Perot thing, dear? So first of all, I thought this woman has a lot of nerve comparing herself to Abraham Lincoln. But she's setting it up. She's comparing herself to Abraham Lincoln, saying how he got kicked out of the Senate, and then how she still has lots of work to do, and how it's only just begun. Mike said he thinks she's going to pull a Ross Perot. Anybody remember that dude? And he said what he thinks she's going to do is in 2024 divide the Republicans between Trump, DeSantis, whoever, and her. And then the Democrats still going to get back in, even if they do that. So that's our little thing. And for those of you who don't like the political stuff, just leave.
Yeah.
Well, no, everybody keeps saying, well, why are you talking about political stuff on your channel? This is not the place for it. Excuse me, it's my channel.
Yeah, and we talk about our lives, and we talk about everything on here and answer your questions. So there's a whole variety. We're just not focused on one thing.
Well, and
what does it?
I go to other people's site where they're talking political stuff, and I don't even say a word.
I know. I never say anything.
Just listen.
I listen.
Don't comment.
Mm-hmm. If I really don't like what they're hearing,
whatever.
I just go to some other place.
Yeah.
So
anyway. All righty. Questions. So let's get started.
Start,
hey, I'm just going for it. All right. Elizabeth says, hey there, I keep hearing that there are food shortages starting in September. Would love to hear your thoughts. Once again, I do not think there's going to be food shortages in the United States. Now, your prices may go up. Mom went grocery shopping yesterday. She noticed stuff had gone up. I noticed French bread went up 50% from $1 to $1.47. Almost 47% for those of you who are going to correct me. And so, yes, stuff is starting to rise. But do I think there's going to actually be food shortages? No, I do not in the United States.
Yeah, not here. And I think we think of food shortages as not being able to get any food at all. I think there's going to be some things, that we can't get anymore maybe, or something like that. But I think there's still, our grocery store probably has enough almost to last us through September, and things just you might have less things to pick from, but it's not going to be where you can't find food or anything like that.
Yeah. And that's why you need our Dining on a Dime cookbook, 25% off right now, guys. This is how you're going to save money. Every single person who's used it says that they have saved from the first time they went to the grocery store.
I don't know. Have we ever had anybody that hasn't said that the book paid for itself?
Yeah. Everybody said that it's paid for itself.
When they go to the grocery store.
They have. All right. So do I think food shortages are going to happen? No, I don't. Once again. But I still think you should be stockpiling. Now, why do I still think you should be stockpiling? Because one, if prices are rising like that much, there's a 50% return on your money right there. So that's actually a better investment than the stock market. So first of all, it's a good investment. Second of all, once again, I'm repeating myself for the 1,000,000th time. You never know if there's going to be blizzards or hurricanes or earthquakes or trucker strikes or that thing going around. Oh, don't go get me started on the CDC thing on that now. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have a rant about that a little bit later. And we here in Wyoming are at the end of our supply chain. We're at the end of the road. I mean, there's maybe a town up the road a little bit that's even further up off the end, but really we're at the end of the supply chain. And so I would always make sure that you have at least 3 months worth of food on hand. It is not hoarding.
Yeah. Just recently, Yellowstone got flooded, not a couple of months ago. And their main road that brought the supplies into them and their food into the restaurants and to the people got messed up, So who knows how long some of those roads can take to get rebuilt and fixed and stuff. So.
Yeah. So, job losses, anything, surgeries, sickness, anything like that could cause you to not be able to go to the store. And I'll be perfectly frank, I just don't like grocery shopping.
Yeah.
I go to the grocery store about every 6 to 8 weeks for my regular trip. And then about once a week, we'll run in and get 2 to 5 things that are on sale. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I do not do a big grocery shopping every week or every 2 weeks. It's every 6 weeks or so. When I had more kids at home, it was every 4 weeks. But guys, I don't like going to the grocery store. So that's one reason why I do not. Oh, no. I'm getting on a rant and we're only
5 minutes in.
7 minutes in. What difference does it make if you buy the food now or you buy it 2 months from now?
It'd just be cheaper now. That's what it would be.
I can never understand all these people who are saying, oh, you're hoarding. Oh, you're just robbing from everyone else. Oh, you're just being ridiculous. That doesn't even make sense. And I'll be honest, if you're one of those people, which I know the majority watching us right now are not, but those of you later who are watching us, and if you're one of those people, you're a fool. You are a fool if you do not have at least a month's worth of food in your house, if not 3 months stockpiled. You have got to stop relying on the government and start relying on yourself to take care of yourself.
Or other people to help you out all the time out of a pinch. Why should I have to give you my food that I prepared for when you just didn't bother? So
I'm sorry, but you are. I mean, it's just, yeah. All right, next one. Okay, so here's where it comes in where I kind of thought, okay, these people think they can't stockpile. These questions lead to that. A lot of other questions similar, okay? I didn't say that right, but anyway. Carolyn says, how are you so disciplined despite chronic fatigue? Lori says, how do you get so much done while having to manage an autoimmune disease that makes you exhausted? I get tired watching you. Chocolate Lover says, oh, that's the wrong, let's see. No, Karen says, what are your best tips for suffering with CFS, fibromyalgia? I have a whole bunch of tips, but I'd be interested in yours. I just paraphrased because it was kind of long. And Tara, please give me advice. Oh, that's another one. Okay, so let me hit those. So those are the kinds of questions that people answer me. Not that these people are giving excuses, but when people say they can't stockpile, it's always, I've got such and so sickness or that sickness, or I'm on disability, or I'm a single mom, or I'm whatever excuse you want to give for not being able to stock up. And the big one is being sick. Okay. So that's why we titled the show what we did, stockpiling when you can't, how to get it done. Okay. So first of all, despite the fact that I have chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, I am not dead. And I'm not going to live my life as if I were. Okay. I've been sick for 33 years now. 33 years? 33 years now. Mom and I and my brother all came down with the flu. Never got better. Okay. But despite that, I've always tried to do something. Like when I couldn't work, I went to school. I worked part-time if I could. Didn't always work very well. When I couldn't work, I would at least have a garden or have some hobbies that I could do. I would do commercial cleaning. Sit down, watch TV during the commercial. I would get up and do something. Always trying to do something so that I'm never just sitting. Now, part of that is that I'm a type A personality, and I get that. But there's a part of your psyche in everyone that has to have some sort of purpose in life, even if it's getting the dishes done and the kitchen clean. And what Mom and I have noticed is people have been given these diagnoses and they have just decided, that's it, I can't do anything. And they've just literally written off everything. Okay? And I wasn't about to do that. I'm not saying it was, a bowl of cherries or whatever. It was not fun all the time. Well, it's never been fun. But you have to have something to do. You can't just lay there and watch TV all the time. So I would do cleaning during commercials. That's what Mom did. Work when you are feeling good. Get what you can done. Because with CFS and fibromyalgia, things like that, you have ebb and flows where you feel really, really sick one day and you feel fine the next day. So work with your energy. Then the next thing is take care of yourself. It's not an excuse to sit home and eat pizza all day long and drink your sodas or your wine or whatever. It's not an excuse to just sit there and say, well, I just can't do anything, so I'm not going to do, or I can't do anything, so I'm going to do nothing. And you have to make up your mind that you're going to do something. Now, how do I get so much done having an autoimmune disease? Now, this was from Lori.
Can I say something?
No. Yes.
To add to that, I learned two things real quick. One is stop stressing. I was getting stressed.
Yeah, stop worrying about it.
Because I couldn't get up and do as much as I wanted to. When I first got sick, I was just bedridden. And for a while, you are bedridden. Yeah. And then eventually, if it's any encouragement, the longer you have it, the more strength you get. But I was stressing out so bad that I couldn't get everything that I normally done, that it was making me worse. And I remember the day I did this, I thought, dear God, you made me sick for some reason. So I'm just going to relax and be sick. And I'll just do what I can. And if I can't, then I'm going to just lay here and be sick. And so I relieved myself of the stress, of the burden of worrying about not being able to do as much. And I started doing a lot more after that point, because mentally I was anxious and it was wearing my body out even more, worrying and stewing. How am I going to get this done? How am I going to do that? And that's kind of when I started the 5-minute commercial thing of getting up and do something during the 5 minutes. The other thing that I did too was, after you've had it as long as what Tawra and I've had it, you learn to control your life kind of around your illness a little bit. For example, now we're doing this evening. I didn't do a whole lot today earlier. I just took it kind of easy because I knew this was going to zap the life out of me. Tomorrow I'll probably be, this is kind of a big life zapper doing this on Wednesday night. So I know Thursday I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot. So I plan my schedule around these things that take a lot of my energy, and I know to rest before or rest after. Sunday, if I want to go to church in the morning, Saturday, I don't do a whole lot. So you learn to control, like Tawra said, your ebb and flow of energy.
Next, do what you can to make yourself feel better. Now, fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, there is a lot you can do nowadays. I have spent thousands of dollars over the last 20 years trying different things and working on getting different things. I had a couple of infections, so I was on antibiotics for 3 months. I have done many different food elimination diets and those types of things. I have tried supplement after supplement after supplement. I have had genetic testing done to see what genetic issues I have. So each one of those little things has helped me a little bit. I got the infections killed, so I had a little bit more energy then. I got some of the food issues taken care of. As long as I stay on that, I do a little bit better. I got the genetic testing, found out I have the MTHFR gene. So I do not process B12 vitamins correctly. So even though they were giving me B12 shots, which a lot of people thought was helping with CFS, you'll see that as a recommendation. It has to be the correct kind of B12. And they were giving me the wrong kind and it was making me sicker. Well, this is all trial and error. So I have spent hours and hours researching things to do to help me feel better with my CFS and my fibromyalgia. I'm not cured, but I'm significantly better than when I was bedridden before. And so now I'm not bedridden anymore, but I'm not up, working 8 hours a day on my feet at Lowe's or something, but I'm way better than I was. And so part of that is deciding you're going to start figuring out why you're not feeling good and start working on it. The B12 was another big step that I took. Taking NADH is another supplement that helped with my energy. And so each one of those little pieces helps me feel a little bit better, making sure I get the right sleep. Now that I don't have little kids or teenagers coming in at midnight, I'm getting more sleep. I'm able to do a little bit better with my sleep. And so, don't decide there's absolutely nothing you can do. There's a lot you can do to treat chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. There's a lot you can do. And so one of the things for me is I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. And if I stay on that, I do really well. I'm also on magnesium malate to help me sleep at night. And then I rotate through aspirin, ibuprofen, and Advil. I just rotate, take 2 of them a day and just rotate through those, whatever. Okay. So those are some of the things that I have done. So don't think that just because you have CFS and fibromyalgia that it's a death sentence and you can't ever do anything anymore. No, your life's not going to be the same, but you can do something to treat yourself and go to doctors and get some treatment and those kind of things. And I will say that non-conventional doctors like naturopaths, those kinds of things helped me more than regular doctors did. Now, Lisa says, where in the Bible does it said God makes us sick? Well, I think of Job right away, where he allowed Satan to let that happen. I don't know. There's all kinds of sick people in the Bible.
No, the concern is that person's asking things that you're saying that God makes them sick.
Well, I don't know that God makes you sick, but he allows it.
Yeah, there's a big difference. People don't realize sometimes he allows these things for your good. And if you don't realize, if you think about it, if I hadn't become sick and Tawra hadn't become sick, we probably wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be doing this at all. And we've helped a lot of people, over the years with our advice and our help. And so God saw that if he allowed this to happen, that I would learn something. Sometimes he just allows these things like we do with our kids. My kids wouldn't listen to me sometimes. So they would do something when I tell them not to, and they'd learn not to touch the hot stove, that it's hot. And I let them touch the front of it where they wouldn't burn themselves and not get hurt. And that way they knew to stay away from it. So God's not a mean ogre that's doing this to us. It's just he's helping us to learn and for us to show his glory and to help other people at some point in our life,
Yeah. Okay, so what does this have to do with stockpiling? Well, even though I'm sick, I stockpile things, first of all, that I can eat. Okay. If you're diabetic, you're not going to be stockpiling cake mixes. You're going to be stockpiling tuna and beef and chicken and canned vegetables, fruit in its own juices, those types of things. Next, when I'm not feeling good, my big food storage video, you can go back and look at it several weeks back, but my emergency food storage, I did not do that all in one day. I don't know why people think you do that in one day. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I think you don't realize that we do piecemeal things a lot for our stuff all the time.
Yeah. And so I would go to the grocery store, and one time I would stock up on canned peaches. The next time I would stock up on flour. The next time I would stock up on whatever. Now, I'm fortunate. I have a husband and boys that help me bring in the groceries. So I would stockpile more than if I was on my own. And I do have my boys carry this stuff in. My kids do chores. Mom got reamed out today on the website for us saying how kids should have chores. Listen, your kids need to have chores, and they need to be expected that when you come home from the grocery store, they're going to help you unload. Period. If they're going to eat, they're going to help you unload. So that is partly how I stockpile. Now, from the money standpoint, do what you can.
Yeah.
If you can only stockpile one extra canned good, well, then buy one extra canned good. It's something. There's no reason why no person in the entire United States cannot stockpile at least $5 a week. Every person in the United States can afford $20 a month to stock up. So just spend $5 extra when you go to the grocery store and stockpile.
There's a theme going on here. If you'll listen to it, it's like, do what you can, even a little bit. Don't just give up and say, I'm not going to do anything at all because I can't do it all at once. Even like buying a house, people say, well, I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to buy a house. I just can't do it. My husband and I had to buy a dump, the first house we bought. And we just, you just progress up and you fix that house up and you sell it and you get a little bit money out of it. And then now I know it's different now, but what I'm saying is you move up on these things. You do what you can at the time you're doing it, a little bit at a time. And everybody thinks it's all or nothing. So stop thinking like that it's all or nothing, whether it's spending money or getting up and doing stuff with your, chronic fatigue.
And Genevieve says, why stockpile if there's no risk of shortages? Go back and watch the beginning of the video. I addressed that. The other thing somebody said, but we have shortages in our area. So what?
Well, that's what
I'm saying. Get what you can.
You're going to maybe be missing some things, but when people talk about shortages, they're making it sound like there will be no food on the shelves whatsoever anymore. And that's why I was trying to explain the definition of what shortages is. You may be short of some of the stuff you're used to getting all the time, and you may have to rethink what you're buying now. But that doesn't mean we're just going to be in a panic mode that there's not going to be any food left in a month.
Yeah. I mean, people keep telling me, oh, I'm having a shortage. Well, okay. So you can't buy your specialty flour. You might have to buy the Walmart flour. Mm-hmm. That's not that big of a deal. See, people say there's shortages and it's not actually a real shortage. You may have one product out of stock, but it's not like you can't go into the grocery store and not buy any food at all.
Yeah, that's what we're getting at.
Which is ridiculous. So
what's happening is we're stirring up a panic and anxiousness over something, making it sound like the sky is falling in when there's just an acorn falling at this point.
Yeah. All right. So if you guys have questions, post them. Michael, do them, and I'll answer your questions at the end. I'm answering the questions that we got on our community tab first, so we can get all those done, and then I'll answer your questions after that. Let's see. Chocolate Lover says, what is the best life advice you have received? How do you avoid burnout? What recharges your batteries? I have no idea. Best life advice you received? I don't know. I have no idea on that. How do I avoid burnout? I don't. I have been burned out for 20 years. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I am not.
That's what you feel like when you
I
have chronic
just-
fatigue. You just feel like you're burned out. No matter what you do, it just doesn't go
Well,
away.
not even with CFS. I think I'm just burned out with life. And I'm serious. For 20 years, I have just been going on nothing, which, what are you supposed to do? So what recharges your batteries? Pretty much nothing. I'm never recharged. So for those of you who are like, oh, how do you do burnout and all that? No, sorry. I don't. I'm just burned out and I just keep going.
I was going to say,
I just
a
keep
lot of
going
that
anyway.
stuff, you just push through it. I mean, we live in a society that there's supposed to be a fix for some of this stuff, and you're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to take care of number one, and you got to take your mom, you got to take care of yourself, and you do to a certain point, but sometimes you just have to just keep going,
Yeah.
no matter what life throws at you, you just have to keep going.
What do you do, cowboy and cowgirls wants to know, what do you do to unwind after work? In the evenings, working on the business, I don't. I'm pretty much
Although
doing.
you do like gardening when it's not stressful.
Yeah, but I pretty much don't. I work all day till 9 o'clock at night, and then Mike and I will sit and watch a movie at night. I guess if you call that unwinding. I don't really need to unwind. Mike needs to unwind. I don't need to unwind. I could just work until I go to bed and just go to bed and I would be fine. Gardening, I like gardening and I do gardening, but it's only for a couple of months out of the year. So it's not like something that I do all the time. I do read a little. I do read, but I don't do that just for unwinding. It's just because I need to sit down and rest for a little bit usually. Okay, let's see. Joyce, when you're feeling unmotivated, what gets you going? Living alone, there's no one to help motivate me. Just do something. Pick one thing and do it. Even when I was single by myself, I thought, okay, I'm going to at least go do the dishes. Okay, I'm going to at least go put the laundry in the washer. Okay, now I'm going to go move it to the dryer. Just do something. If there's something if you have a whole list of things that's been irritating you, like you need to clean this pile or you need to clean that pile or you need to get something planted, make a list and every day pick one or two and just start doing them. It boils down to you just got to get your butt up and do it.
I was going to say, it helps me. I don't like doing planners or do a whole lot like that. But like yesterday, I thought I've got to get something done. So I put 3 things down on a piece of paper last night. And I got up. And even though I didn't feel like it, I did them because they were on the list. Yeah.
By the way, planners, if you guys are wondering, we still have them in stock. I keep forgetting to show them because we've been talking about other stuff. But if you want an undated planner, we still have them. Okay. Beth, give us some advice on how to determine if you have chronic fatigue syndrome. You can just Google chronic fatigue syndrome symptoms, but it's a matter of going to the doctor, having a whole bunch of blood work done, and having everything ruled out. Now, the majority of people who think they have chronic fatigue syndrome don't. They have an infection, they have thyroid, they've got something else that is treatable that they don't know that they have, or that the doctor's not continuing to look for.
So it's best to get everything else ruled out first.
Yeah. It's a by way of ruling things out, just how they figure it out. Now, they did say that for fibromyalgia in Israel, they have discovered people with fibromyalgia have some sort of gut bacteria that normal people don't have. And they're thinking that might be a new test to test for that. I don't know. We'll see if that works. Julie wants to know, besides massage, chiropractor, what do you suggest for fibromyalgia, especially fibrofog? So what helps me with the fog is exercise, staying off the dairy, staying off the gluten, staying off the sugar. If I can do all 4 of those at the same time, I always feel my best if I do those 4 at the same time. Now, like I'm all those 3 dairy free. Well, we're pretty sure we got that thing going around again 3 weeks ago. I got it. So I haven't been exercising since then. So I've been feeling worse and my brain fog's coming back worse. And so for me, those things work the best with the massage. Paula, how do you always stay positive? I don't.
Amen.
Michael's amening back here.
28 years.
28 long years.
I don't. I'm not always positive. I'm just here.
She's feeling pretty sick tonight. If you guys,
let's see. Actually, it's kind of interesting. You guys saw my happy. Are you happy? Are you happy, mother?
Me? I feel happy.
Okay. What's your definition of happiness?
I just think peace and contentment more than anything.
Okay. So I asked on our channel, our community page, are you happy? Are you content? 70% of you said you were both. But I got to thinking, I don't know that I've ever felt happy. I can't say that I've ever felt happy.
Well,
I mean, I laugh, but if someone were to sit there and say, "Oh, are you happy?" I would say no. I don't know why I'm not happy, but anyway, so
well,
I'm not really positive and all that. So
I
maybe
want to say I'll say something there. I think it's a different. Once you have an illness like we have, we're not so much. We're sort of depressed, but not really depressed. It's really hard to let your emotions go. I know I got excited. I learned this years ago. I got excited because I was going to get my house painted for free through the city. I was so excited. I was just beyond excited and happy. And I became deathly sick that day just because I was so happy. And I learned that day that I can't let my emotions be extreme in any direction. You just have to stay kind of blah, with them. And so that's part of, I think, what Tawra feels a lot is you can't get overly excited, overly joyful, or overly anything, or even overly sad and upset because it totally messes up your physical aspect.
Or maybe I'm just not happy.
Or maybe she's just not happy.
I don't know.
Could be.
Let's see. There was a question here that was along that same line real quick. Oh, this was what I was going to say. There's another thing we noticed. Okay.
Oh dear, we're in trouble now.
Oh dear. Okay. I took a survey this morning and I said, do you have a chronic illness? And as of right this second, we have, oops, well, maybe I can't get to it quick enough. As of right this second, we have 54%, I think is what it was. My computer's loading slow because we're out in the studio here. Do you have 51% of our viewers out of 3,000 said that they have a chronic illness? Okay, now I'm going to address something else with this. If you have a chronic illness, you might want to get counseling also. Now, we have noticed that with people when they're chronically ill, it's not just one thing. It'll be a list of 20 things that they have. And when people email me, they'll say, well, I've got RA, I've got MS, I've got fibromyalgia, I've got chronic fatigue syndrome, I've got diabetes, I've got high blood pressure, I've got heart problems, I've got COPD, whatever. I mean, they'll give me the laundry list.
Whole list, yeah.
If that is you really need to get some counseling, okay? A lot of these chronic illnesses like this is from trauma in your childhood, and you have not dealt with the stress, or not even childhood, if you're an abused wife, or if you've had whatever issues, your child has died or your spouse has died or anything like that, any sort of trauma, not just abuse. But you need to deal with those things, because when you don't deal with those things, then you just let that stuff continue to build up. And that's when one disease after another. It's not actual diseases. I mean, they are diseases, but they're not actual diseases that are the problem. It's the stress from not dealing with whatever you need to deal with and get it dealt with.
Yeah.
So that's something else I wanted to say, that you need to get whatever fixed. Go to your pastor. There's low income counseling for people, and counselors are really hard to find. And let me tell you, if you find a counselor And all they let you do is go on and on and on about your illnesses and this problem and that problem. And they don't give you homework to do something to fix it. You need to find a different counselor. Going to counselor is not, we're just going to go on and moan about our problems all the time.
You should start improving with each session.
You
Do a
should
little
not
bit
go to
something.
counseling for months and years on end unless it's just some horrific
really,
thing.
really bad
Yeah.
thing.
So you need to get some counseling and get those things dealt with. Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with getting counseling for that. Your mind and your emotions can get hurt too, just like your body gets physically hurt. So it's like going to a doctor for your mind and emotions like you would with your body.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
Jen, how do you stay positive and carry through the trials of life? How did you become so resilient? I don't. I just keep going. I mean, it's just, you just think of Dory in Nemo. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. I just keep going. I mean, guys, if you guys actually knew what goes on in our real lives behind the scenes, you would really wonder how
we keep going with
I mean,
all the
seriously,
stuff that we do.
when we first started the lives
Oh
in
my goodness.
2016 or whatever it was, at the time we were being sued in court by Mike's parents. And we had our grieving niece whose father had just died come move in with us, an only child moving into a big family. We didn't talk about any of that, and we probably won't ever talk about any of that. But to put it in perspective, our lawyer that we had, she said the only case worse than ours was a husband and a wife that was trying to kill each other. To put it in perspective, I had 4 teenagers. I had a grieving teenager that moved into the family. We were self-employed, making about $40,000 a year, trying to figure out this YouTube thing to get our business going. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
So the majority of the time, you just keep going because that's what you have to do.
You just keep working through the next problem and just keep going on.
You just do the next thing. And the majority of my life, I would say probably 98% of my life, it's just, okay, what's the next thing I need to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so that's just how we keep going. Michelle, what books would you recommend for certain skills? Can you please share some of those? So the number one I would get is Carla Emery. Well, first of all, I would get Dining on a Dime cookbooks for 25% off. So
we
you
don't
can
just
cook.
have cooking in there. We've got how to clean your bathroom, how to clean your kitchen, those types of things in there.
And medical stuff.
And
but
yeah,
when I showed my 6 months stockpile, several people said, oh, that's not 6 months. That's 4 years. That's 2 years. And we got a comment today, and Mike said the same thing. He said, those people are eating out all the time because they don't actually know what 6 months worth of food looks like. And so one of the things is you're going to have to learn how to cook at home. Get our Dining on a Dime cookbook. Next, Carla Emery's old-fashioned recipe book.
That is really good.
That's really good.
And don't listen to the title because they teach you how to
Butcher
raise
a cow,
goats, do
have a baby.
chickens, have a baby. Heat your water when you don't have just running hot water. Everything. They had a special school where they taught people how to homestead. So they cover canning, they cover dehydrating, how to bake your own bread, everything. They cover everything. It's about this thick. It's a huge book, and I love it. It's my favorite for that type of thing.
Yeah. And then I would get something like the Boy Scouts First Aid book. I would get a book on foraging in your area.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to forage the same foods in Wyoming as you do California, as you do Pennsylvania, as you do Florida. Get a forage book for your area. I would get a home canning book in case you ever have to know how to can. I would get, a basic home repair book. Nowadays cars are so complicated, you can't even do your own car repair, so I wouldn't even mess with that. But those types of things I would probably focus on. Okay, next, this is funny. Targeted individual number 46 says, Bare land to do the off-grid living. Where is good? No snakes, no bears, no mountain lions, no huge poisonous spiders, no dingoes, nothing. You are living in a fairy land.
You're thinking of heaven. I was going to say you're thinking of heaven.
That place does not exist.
Except in heaven.
That place does not exist.
We've tried to find them, trust me. I'm just looking for a place with no wind.
That's what Jonathan said.
No, what did
What'd
Jonathan
Jonathan
say?
He said we've trained gators to forage for us.
Gators.
One of the viewers said they trained gators to forage in Florida. I swear I will never go to Florida because they have alligators
that's
that
funny.
just eat you there. Cindy, I've noticed you lost 25 pounds. How did you do it? A certain plan. I started watching portion control, and it's amazing the extra food that's left over at a meal. I'd like to see a video showing actual portions of things. Actually, we did do a video about 5 years ago on actual portions. So you might type in
Portion control?
I don't even know if it's named portion control though, but it was. I don't even remember what the name of the title was. But how I lost 25 pounds was I cut out the dairy, I cut out the gluten, I cut out the sugar, I cut out gluten, dairy, and sugar is what I did. For me, I've been gluten-free and dairy-free for a long time. I finally just bit the bullet and went on no sugar also. That's when I finally started losing weight. I just have issues with sugar.
But
I know it.
You need to adapt these things
yeah.
to your own personal self because everybody's different. Their bodies are totally different. So you can't just cabbage onto another
I'm eating
diet.
potato chips. I'm eating sugar-free jelly beans. I'm eating gluten-free bread with toast. I'm eating steak. I'm eating what else? Tortilla chips. I'm eating all the bad stuff that they say that you're not supposed to be eating. And so these people who say you can't eat potato chips to lose weight, I got news for them. I lost 25 pounds and I eat potato chips almost every day. So, just do what you can. Anna says, provide advice for single moms on how to stretch budget in other areas besides our food budget. Go watch our Penny Pinch Mama series, but turn down your heat. Your heat shouldn't be set higher than 68 in the winter. Your AC should not be set higher than 78 in the summer. Your car should be 15 to 20 years old. Even with repairs, don't give me that baloney. We have figured it out that it still pays to buy a used car. It's way cheaper to buy a used car and have it repaired than to get a new car and have a loan. So you need to be driving a used car. You can use Uber, Lyft, the bus, train, whatever, if your car breaks down. So I really would not worry about that.
And you know what? The advice is no different from anybody else.
No.
You do the same things that we tell everybody else to do, to be careful of. Because for one thing, even though it was hard for me because I had to pay off all the credit card debt, or not credit card debt, but the business debt that my husband had done. So that made it hard for me. But I lived off of one income. I wasn't a single mom, but I lived off of one income. And that's what it boils down to. And a lot of people can live off of one income. You can do it. For a while, Tawra.
Oh, yeah, we did for years.
My son and his wife did.
Yeah.
They lived off of one income. For some reason, we've got it ingrained in our brains that you can't do that anymore. And it's perfectly doable if you just want to. Now, you're not going to get everything you want, like the brand new fancy house and the brand new fancy car and your nails done. But, that's just a single income. And you can do that quite easily because I know lots of people that live on a single income.
Yep. So basically, you just need to cut out everything you can, and it's up to you to decide if you're going to do it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a dork about this, but Mom raised my brother and I on $500 a month. And don't tell me that $500 was a lot of money in the 1980s. It was not. It was not. That statement makes me want to punch the person in the nose for just being stupid. It was not anything in the 1980s. It was just as much poverty as $750 to $1,000 would be now. You don't see You don't see anybody telling a single mom nowadays that she can raise her kids on $1,000 a month and pay off $35,000 of debt. You don't see people telling the moms that now. And so we have actually lived through it. We know it can be done. That's why we have no patience with excuses. You just got to decide you're going to cut back in every single, no new clothes, no new shoes. I mean, if you have to buy used underwear, you got to buy used underwear. Bring them home and bleach them.
Or only use 2 pairs, wash them
Or
out
use 2 pairs and wash it out.
out every night. We have to do that. Hot glue the soles onto your kids' shoes if you have to.
That's what you got to do. We've done all that stuff. When Sarah says, when living frugally, you and Mike were struggling to pay the bills and raising kids, did you know that the frugal lifestyle would bring financial freedom, or did you just naturally do these things and it turned out that way? No, we had a purpose that we were going to be out of debt, and then we were going to get our house paid off, and then we were going to improve our lifestyle. And so we just kept moving our way up. And so the best way that we did that was by doing the business, living on a dime as a business instead of Mike working. He made 30 to 35,000 earning being a video producer, and we make way more than that doing our own business. But we also work way more hours doing our own business. We're not working 9 to 5. We can't just take off. We were talking today about going back east to Dollywood and Branson in the fall. And we were like, okay, well, we'll have to get this done. If we do that, we'd have to do this. You can't just take off.
No.
And even when we're on the trips, we're still going to be monitoring stuff. We're still going to be having to deal with comments, have to deal with order problems.
Mm-hmm. You never really get a vacation. You never get a paid vacation. You have to work, like the week before you leave, you have to work twice as many hours, which is a lot because you're already working on. And then when you get back, you have to work twice as many hours to make up for it. So it's, people say, oh, I want to go in business for myself so I can go on vacation when I want, and when I can do my hours I want. Well, you need to plan on doubling and tripling the hours you're working now. You don't have a 40-hour week. I work 60 to 70 hours almost every single week. You work 6 days a week and stuff like that. So it's not easy, you know.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. And to go along with this, Mathilde, I don't know. I think it's a Swedish name maybe. So I'm sorry I massacred your name. What do you think about lifestyle inflation over the years? Our family earns more money and we can spend more, also saving up a bunch. My concern is that it's easier to add things than to see them get taken away. So how have you and Mike found that balance of letting yourselves indulge while also living a sensible lifestyle? Well, so for us, we still don't go out and buy new cars. We drive a 20-year-old car that we keep repairing. Now we are looking for a newer car right now because, this one's not going to keep going a whole lot, or if we smack a deer or something, we're going to be toast. So we are looking for something, but we always try to buy used. Yes, we have a really, really nice house, but that was one of our goals, to have a house that we could be at peace in, not listen to neighbors and dogs barking all the time. But, I still buy the majority of our clothes at the thrift stores. I do get new shoes for everybody now, but I didn't always. I used to get them. And here's the thing. For me, this is really nice being able to live like this and afford things now. But if it's all taken away, I know I've done it before. I can do it again. I may not like it.
It's like a mindset.
But I'm not going to go jump off a cliff if I lose all my money like they did in the Depression. So, I grew up poor. If I die poor, well, I guess I'd die poor. But, but part of it is making the decision not to be poor. Why aren't we poor? Because I don't get my nails done every week. I wasn't going and getting $100, $150 worth of highlights or whatever on my hair, or not a month. We didn't buy a new car. We didn't have student loans. We didn't use our credit card to just go buy new furniture when we moved. All my furniture's been used except for a couple of beds. So, we shop garage sales. Well, all that money, when we started earning more money, then went to pay off our house, our debt, and then savings or whatever, or then vacation, like when we went to Europe.
And I have a grandson. What he did was he was just learning, starting out, working and things like that. And what he did, I don't know if this goes along with this or not, but he had enough money to pay his rent, and utilities. He was pretty careful with it and everything. And so he got a raise. And every time he got a raise, he just had them put that in a savings account. So instead of changing your lifestyle all the time, put it into a savings or pay off your house until you get to a certain point where you've got your money under control. That's the secret, is learning to control your money. And you've got everything paid off. Then you can start raising the standard a little bit, but do things like that with the pay raises and, and things.
Yeah. So Deborah, along with that, says, how do you decide when it's okay to spend money? I'm 68-year-old widow and still working. I want to have my own I want to have my driveway redone with cement. It costs $9,000. I save money easily, but have a hard time spending it. The drive should add value to my home, be easier to maintain, and I feel it would be safer for me to walk. I've had a knee replacement and already fallen once and broken my nose. So in that case, it's cheaper to get the driveway fixed than to end up in the hospital again. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be falling on it, you need to get the driveway fixed and end up in the hospital. But I would say if you've got your retirement and you've got some savings, spend it. Mm-hmm. Guys, but do you know why we changed? Do you know why we changed our name from living on a dime to living on a dime to grow rich? The point of living on a dime is not to be suffering in poverty for your entire life. It is to improve your life so that you can have nicer things. You can have a nicer retirement because you're not wasting money on things like new cars, nails, new clothes, new purses. You're using that money to buy things that actually matter and not just things that can be thrown away all the time. When you get to the point where you have your retirement build up and you're saving, spend the money. Spend the money. It's okay. We aren't saying you can't ever spend the money. We're saying get your ducks in line first and then spend the money. So, it's totally fine. Spend the money. Mm-hmm. Lisa says, I became a widow 6 months ago. I'm 53 years old. I went from a six-figure income down to $1,300 a month. My husband left enough money to live on, but I can't get it until I'm 62. Okay. I was poor before, single mom with 6 kids, living on $1,200 a month. I'm struggling emotionally and know I need to get a job, but I just don't have the energy to do anything. Any advice? All I have to pay is rent, insurance, gas, and food. Okay, well, first of all, I'm really sorry. So you need to understand you're grieving and you're depressed because you're grieving. So in this situation, if you need counseling, go in and talk to somebody.
Or just give yourself some time too.
Give yourself time. It's okay.
You allow yourself to grieve. If you have to just sit there and cry for a period. And then you'll know when it's time for you to pick yourself up, go get a job, and start trying to do things again. But you have to grieve for a while. That's perfectly normal.
I mean, I would say give yourself a year. And then you may have to get to the point where you just have to tell yourself, okay, you know what? I don't feel like doing anything, but I'm just going to go apply for that job. Because maybe you need to just get out and get among people more.
You know yourself better. Yeah. But what we're saying is if you need to keep on grieving, if you feel like you need to change things a little bit and get out of the house, and you get up and try to do something like that, you have more control than what you think. And you need to use that control to give yourself what you need.
Rainbow says, can you please make a video of your daily house cleaning? Well, sorry, no. So here's the thing, guys. I know everybody loves the cooking shows and all that, but right now we are a prepping channel. A prepping channel is what is paying the bills. We do these live shows to try and answer questions and stuff like that when they're not on prepping and stuff like that. But for the moment, we are a prepping channel. Now, I'm working on another recipe channel, and if I get that up and going and that's paying the bills, then we might go back to cooking shows or do cleaning or something like that. But guys, nobody wanted to watch it. They didn't. They watched the prepping shows, the stockpiling shows. They didn't want to watch it. Jen, gardening question. What do you fertilize your plants with to make them so terrific? Do you do a lot of pruning. Everything looks amazing. Thank you.
Mhm.
I just use Miracle Grow or whatever fertilizer I can find cheap at garage sales. I did have to have Mike go buy me some Miracle Grow because at Home Depot because my supply got dwindled when we moved. So I'm trying to up my fertilizer supplies. But guys, this is one thing I would be buying at garage sales now. Go to estate sales, garage sales. If you see fertilizer, get it. With this whole green baloney that they're trying to pull, you are not going to be able to get fertilizer. And let me tell you, if you do have to grow some of your own foods, organic gardening does not work. Do you know why they quit organic gardening? Because they couldn't get anything to grow very well. I know there's people that will swear organic gardening, but let me tell you, you can't just, you can use compost, you can use compost tea, but it does not work the same as good old fertilizer. You're not going to get the same tomato yield. I know, argue all you want in the comments. I have been gardening for almost 40, not quite 35 years. Believe me, I know my gardening, and you just are not going to get the same results. So I would look for
Sometimes
fertilizers.
why the organic gardening seems to work is because everybody else around you is using pesticides and things
That's
like
true,
that.
yeah.
So you're thinking, oh, this is working great. But if the whole world can't use it anymore, it'll go back to like the 1930s, 40s, and even beyond that, where they had bugs, they had all kinds of things. They tried to use the natural stuff, and it didn't keep these things away. They tried to use the natural fertilizer, and they just couldn't
You don't get the volume.
You don't get the volume. And
No.
so when the military went to World War II, they found out farm boys were malnourished.
Yep.
That's when they started putting the nutrients in boxes of cereal and stuff like that, because so many people were malnourished because they couldn't grow the food.
Yep. And somebody said how to make compost. You just dump it in a pile.
Oh, I
and
love
just let it
composting.
compost. Water it once in a while if you live in a dry climate like we do. But if you live where there's humidity, you don't even need to water
I
it.
never watered it.
And just throw it all in a pile, let it rot for a year, and then you can put it in now, compost is really good for breaking up your soil, being able to hold more water in your soil, and getting a loose, pliable soil. And there are some nutrients in it. But guys, fertilizer, there's a reason why they use fertilizer, because it works.
And you know what else is good about compost that people don't think about? You have half the amount of trash. So you can maybe share trash with somebody, or you wouldn't have to pay as much for trash. And I hardly use my garbage disposal. So I don't have my garbage disposal break down as often as what other people do. So they never think of things like that. And I guess that's part of being frugal. I just think of all these things together.
And if you have chickens, your chicken neighbors have chickens, you can put their poop in the compost too. I wouldn't do horse now. I got some horse manure and it was tainted with grazon, and it ruined my garden for like 6 years in Colorado. I could hardly grow anything. It was bad. And so I would be really careful of horse poop, but chicken is fine. I probably wouldn't do goat either. I'd probably just stick with chicken or maybe rabbit. Doodle Toot, are you doing a winter garden this year? She's not sure which vegetables. No. I've given up on my garden for the year, and I'm going to take a break and start again next year. But if you want a winter garden, radishes, kohlrabi, turnips, lettuce. You could probably do some green beans if you live down south, and you can get your season further. But those are the types of things that I would grow in a winter garden. What is the best weed killer? So not in the garden, you can just use vinegar or salt water or boiling water, or you can burn them with a blowtorch if you want. In the garden, I just either pull them or use Roundup, and just am selective where I spray it. I know all you Roundup people are just going to be commenting, and guess what? Your comments are going to be blocked because Roundup is one of my blocked comments. And so I use Roundup all the time. The store brand Walmart kind is fine, but I just go around the plants and do that.
The vinegar, the boiling water, and all that will kill anything dead. So don't get it near the stuff flowers that you want to keep going.
So I use that not around my garden, like the driveway and that kind of thing, to save money on that. What is your favorite nonprofit if you were blessed with the funds and staff to do so? I don't know that I have a favorite nonprofit. Like there's lots of good. Amish Rescue Mission is a really good one that I just heard about. They rescue Amish people who have been abused, and they can still stay Amish, but they help them get out while the abuser is being either in counseling or out of the home, that type of thing. Their Amish Rescue Mission. We do children's homes. We do women's domestic shelters. We do churches like in the Philippines, third world type countries. Any of your bigger churches like Jack Hibbs, David Jeremiah, Charles Stanley, we would donate to them. If you don't have a local church, you could donate to them. We just kind of look on people who give kids, like James Robinson does wells and shoes for kids over in Africa.
I like to give
Mike does. Yeah, Mike does Blue Letter Bible. But I mean, if you're talking about organizations for helping people, so that's where I would do. Joanne, how can I learn to choose colors for painting my walls that look as beautiful and warm as yours? Well, thank you. Might sound silly, but I love to paint and decorate, and light and shadows from outside affect the color. I just go for it. So I'll get a paint swatch at the store, set it on the kitchen counter, see what it looks like for several days, pick one I like. Here's the thing with painting. If you don't like it, it's paint. I do not understand. People have a conniption about getting the wrong paint color. I mean, they really do. It's like they're going to have a complete breakdown if they get the wrong. It's just paint. This right here, 3 times. I mixed this paint myself from paint I already had. Put on the first one, didn't like it. Added some more. Put on the next one, didn't like it. Added some more white. Put on the third one, and I finally hit the same color that I had at the old house. Didn't mean to do that, but this is the color that I ended up with. So I'll paint a swatch like this big. Area. I got the paint for the front of my house. If you guys saw the peacock, well, it was a little too peacocky. So I just added brown, and then it kind of took out a little of the peacock, but it was still pretty, but it kind of blended it down a little bit.
I will do things sometimes, like I was wanting to paint my kitchen cabinets white. So I thumbtacked a white sheet and hung in a big area to see, am I going to like that much white in here or not? So you can take a piece of fabric too, like a black piece or a red piece of fabric, and hang it up there and look at it for a while. But I usually do the little square area, whatever you call it, and test it. And if I don't like it, then I try something more.
Yep. Okay. Let me block this Roundup user. You may not comment on my channel anymore. There you go. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
I do not put up with this anymore. I don't even try to argue with you. There was somebody on, I'm not going to even go there. Okay. Bethany, when you painted your countertops at the old house, is there something that needs to be put on it? Yes, a sealer. You have to put a sealer on there. You can go to Home Depot, whatever kit you get. Sometimes a kit will have the sealer in it, or Home Depot at the paint department, they'll tell you which one. Bethany, I have cabinets that are not real wood. Can they be painted? Yes, you go for it, girl. Yeah. You may need to prime them first if there's oil or something on there, but
I always use the oil-based kills. I'll do a light sanding, or I use no sand. It comes in a can, and you just wipe it on, and I do the no sand, light sanding, no sand, kills oil based, and then I paint it. And I've never had my cabinets chip or do anything when I did that.
Yeah. And next is, how do you cut down on so much trash? Lynette wants to know. I have tons of it, and I live alone with 2 cats. Well, I don't know what you're buying. I guess you must be buying something that causes a lot of trash.
Well, what I do, like I said earlier, I do a compost pile. So I don't
Yeah, but
have put
food,
anything.
she couldn't
But
have that
then
much.
I buy most of my stuff at garage sales. I don't
Yeah.
have a lot of packaging because I go to garage sales to get my clothes, to get my household items and things like that. So I have very little packaging. And so that's a way I save a lot is on that. I don't order a lot of stuff from Amazon or anything.
Yeah, I would say, what are you buying that's causing so much packaging, I guess is what I would ask.
And another thing, today I had a small cardboard box. So instead of just throwing that box in the trash, I set that there by my trash can and I filled that up. And then that'll go in the trash. So I don't have a box and trash on top of that. I fill the containers up as much as I can.
And like when we had a dog, I would use the dog food bag as a trash bag for, stuff like that. So I don't know.
Or your toilet paper bag, plastic bags, you can use that for a trash bag.
Yeah. Whoops, let's see. I thought there was something along with, well, we'll get back to it if Mike caught it, hopefully. Okay. Barbara Polly, by the way, Barbara, I left it over there.
Oh, you left it at the house.
Thank you for the bubble bath. Now, for those of you who don't know, my whole supply chain issue bubble bath thing was a joke. Yes, my store is out of bubble bath. My life is not going to end because I don't have bubble bath. I was just joking.
But Barbara's one of our.
But Barbara sent me bubble
bath. Long-time viewer, so which
I greatly appreciate because I don't have any bubble, and it's lavender, so I can calm down.
She's going to take one tonight with it, huh?
So thank you, Barbara. I appreciate it. Yes, that is a supply chain issue we've noticed, and Mike researched it, and he found out the reason why is because they were making hand sanitizer, which they didn't need.
Oh.
Instead of bubble bath. Okay. And so Barbara wants to know, what is my favorite small appliance? What brand do you use? What do you use it for? My number one would be my hand stick blender. I use that almost every day. Now I have a 1950s frying pan that I use on my kitchen countertop that I got for $5 at a garage sale. I use every day because my stove stinks. I hate my stove, so I use that to cook. And those are the two that I use the most. Now, when we had an air fryer, the boys and Mike really, really liked the air fryer. But we haven't bought one at the new house because we're going to remodel the kitchen. I think I'm just going to get an oven that has an air fryer.
I know it's your questions, but can I tell her mine? My favorite ones? Well,
your questions were last week.
I know. I love my vacuum sealer, but just recently I got this little tiny appliance that has changed my life. I love it so much. It's an egg cooker. I just can't even believe. I wish I'd had this a million years ago because all what you do is you have this little tiny, it's not very big. It's real tiny. And you take and you pour a little bit of water in there. You set the eggs on there, put the little lid on, and in like 5 minutes or less, it just dings. And I have hard-boiled eggs. I don't have to wash anything. I don't have to clean. You don't have to clean it out because it just had nothing but water.
I'd probably get me one of those, and I would use that probably every other day too. Yeah.
And not only can I do hard-boiled eggs, but it's got a little tiny plastic tray thing that you put in there that has a divider, and you can put poached eggs in there. I don't have to clean a nasty pan for poached eggs. I know. And it just does it up in a couple of minutes, and voila. No cleanup. I clean no pan with this. So I know
I need to get me one of those because I love eggs, but I hate cleaning the pan.
Yeah, and they even have another little plastic thing that you could put an egg in and make an omelet. Yeah. This thing is unbelievable. I use it all the time. And I know a lot of people get these big old Instapots to do hard-boiled eggs. And this thing doesn't even take up it's about the size of a large cereal bowl. You know, the new big cereal bowls they have, that's all the bigger it is. As you can tell, I love it. It's just changed the way I eat and stuff.
Yeah. Do I color my hair? Several people wanted to know, do I color my hair? No, this is my natural gray now. I stopped coloring 2.5 years ago. And this is just me. This is me. Is that it? I don't know. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Mike does. Okay. This is me.
Oh, yeah.
Darlene. Well, hers is similar to what Barbara wanted to know. What are my thoughts on an air fryer, Instapot? Do you use a crock pot, slow cooker? No, I think Instant Pots are from Satan. I do have one, but I use it maybe once a month, maybe. And the only reason why I kept it was if I ever do cooking videos again, if I need it. Air fryer. Now, we did love our air fryer. My boys and Mike love the air fryer. Crock pot, I have one, but once again, I don't use it maybe once every 3, 4, sometimes. I mean, it's probably been, I haven't even used the crock pot at this house, and we've been here for a year.
The thing is, with some of
Yeah.
those things, I have learned that I can use a pan that I have anyway and slow cook stuff in the oven. And the oven does not take any more electricity than a crock pot. People don't totally understand that. Now, I don't know about heating up the kitchen. You know, the crock pot maybe doesn't heat up quite as much, but it still heats up a little bit. So I just slow cook, and things taste so much better if you can slow cook them in the oven and on the stove. I can tell a difference, you know, when you do.
Yeah. Okay. I'm almost through with the questions from before. I don't want to see how many we have on here. Jane wants to know, why did we move so much? One thing, we were moving up or trying to move up. We just moved for different reasons. Like Mike would lose his job. So we went from Idaho to Kansas because he couldn't find a job in Idaho. So we moved back to Kansas. My brother happened to get paralyzed at the same time. He had removed every wall in his house to remodel. So we also went back at the same time to help him with that. Then we had more kids. So we moved up from that. Then we hated the house we were in. So we moved from that. Then we moved from Kansas to Colorado. From Kansas to Colorado to help my brother-in-law who was dying of cancer, because we knew our niece would probably need to come live with us. So we moved for that. And then we moved here for a better house. We did a whole video on why we moved, every single one. And no, we're not in the military. We just moved a lot. How did Mike and I meet? Lori wants to know. I worked with his sister at the fudge shop in Estes Park, Colorado. She was leaving and he came in to say hi. And he got more sweets than he would ever dream of for the next 28 years. He says he got ripped. He says, I look so cute in my apron at the fudge shop, and I don't wear an apron at home.
She was so smiley and happy.
I was so smiley, yeah. Yeah. Elaine, my kids are fighting all the time. They fight over everything, screaming and hitting. My husband does not care. Anybody help? And yes, they have jobs to keep busy. Okay. So first of all, my kids fought a lot, but there was no screaming and especially no hitting. That needs to stop right now, whether your husband's a part of it or not. If your husband's not a part of it, you guys need to get in for marriage counseling. There, you have way bigger issues than your kids fighting.
And that could be part of why the kids are fighting.
Probably why. So I would get in marriage counseling. Also, they can help you. But if the kids are going to be fighting, especially hitting or anything like that, they are going to be separated. And they are not going to be, they're not going to be doing sports. They're not going to be on the computer. They're not going to have phones. They are going to have every single thing taken away to the point where if they are 15 years old and you have to sit them in the corner at 15 years old for an hour, I would do it. Hitting, that is not okay.
Kids are going to argue and fight to a certain extent, but the hitting,
you're allowing it.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
Nobody would hit in our family. You don't hit.
No. And
Or
especially
even screaming really bad.
No, screaming is not okay.
Those are types of fighting that's what I call hitting below the belt. Husbands and wives should not fight like that. You should not hit below the belt by saying mean, hateful things like you're stupid, you're ugly, or anything like that. That's hitting the below the belt fighting. And you're going to argue and you're going to have disagreements, but you have to learn to control those.
Yeah, that's not okay. Linda, I cut back on paper products, plastic bags, etc. Bought cloth hankies. Look for more dish towels, wash rags. Where else can I turn my focus on reusable items? Save wherever I can. So we use rags for everything. We do not buy paper towels.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll buy a 12 pack of paper towels and it will last me, my goodness, 4 or 5 years. I go through maybe when we had cats, I went through more picking up cat barf. But now every not even 6 months,
Yeah.
I've had the same, actually, we've been in this house a year and I've had the same roll of paper towels.
I had a half a roll when I moved into mine. I haven't even used.
Go look at my house tour, my 1-year house tour. You will see in my laundry room, my pile of rags. We just use rags.
Yeah,
There's
and we've got an article on the website about using rags, how to cut them up, what to use for different types. I never buy, paper towels, Harley, just like Tawra said, one roll a year or less. I don't know why more people don't use rags. It's free. And don't wash the rags. I think they think you have to wash a rag. No, it's going to be a rag. You're going to toss it out anyway. So why are you re-washing it and use it? I get so many rags from worn out clothes and stuff like that you shouldn't have to be washing
even
them.
washing them, it's not that big of a deal. Like I use a rag today to clean, well, you can't see it, but we have a new sink in here. And I used a rag today. I'm just going to throw it in the wash. I mean, maybe 6-7 rags a week. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, but the thing is, I have certain rags. If I'm just wiping down the sink or something, then that'll go in the wash. But if I'm picking up gooky stuff off the floor, that's a rag that goes in the trash. Oil, cat barf, something like that.
Yeah.
You put those rags in the trash. Why people think you have to wash them, but that's why they buy paper towels, is because they're convenient and they don't have to mess with the gooky stuff. They think they have to wash the gooky stuff out, and you don't.
Yep. Trash to treasure. Okay. Okay, let's see. She's got rheumatoid arthritis, several other things going on, almost died. I had a great run treating patients. She was an RN. I love my patients. Now I'm on disability, not making money like I did in that field. And then my life is falling apart now. Going from making great money to nothing is a huge life change. I've got to debt. My husband only makes $13 an hour. I was always the breadwinner of my family. Now I feel like pulling my hair out. It's hard to get out of debt with our income. Your husband needs to get a better job. $13 an hour, that's ridiculous.
Or get a second job.
Get a second job.
Have to.
I mean, there's no reason for you to be living on that amount. If he is a capable adult male, he should be earning no less than $25, $30 an hour at least, doing something. Trash guys make $25 an hour.
Yeah. And two, this is a perfect example when we keep telling everybody to try to get all your debt paid off while you're working, all your house mortgage paid off while you're working, because you never know when something like this is going to happen. And it's hard then to adapt and adjust, where if you have all your debt gone, and I know this won't help you, but this is for other people as an example, that you need to we keep saying, get your stuff paid off so that if you get sick, you can survive on very minimum amount of money. But if you have everything paid off, but it's when you have all these debts and all the mortgages and, car payments, then it is hard to survive.
Yeah, but sorry, it sounds like your husband's a bum, not wanting to pick it up a notch, and he needs to get a job that pays. I mean, there's a certain point where you just have to earn more money. Mike and I could not live on $30,000 a month with 4 kids going into be teenagers. Yeah, or a year, not $30,000 a month. I wish. $30,000 a year with 4 kids in Colorado. It wasn't going to work. And so we had to figure out a way to make more money. So, he's going to have to figure out a way to make more money. Denise, love your channel. Thank you. Do we make ghee? Yes. And I think it's in Dining Volume 2. I put it in Volume 2. If not, it's for sure in our gluten-free, dairy-free book. But it is so stinking easy. You just put butter in a pan, let it boil until it turns clear, and then skim off the foam, and then pour the oil out, and then leave the milk protein on the bottom. And that's how you make it. That's what I use for my butter. What about a famine? Wouldn't that mean food is going to be gone? I don't think we're going to have a famine in the United States.
Not by September. No. Not by September.
Not anytime soon. Maybe in a couple of years, but not anytime
Further
soon.
down the line.
I'm new to stockpiling. I'm a bit concerned about being able to find deals. Just look in your local ad every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever your ad comes out. I
find something every week that I can get.
Yep. yes, there'll be food, but will you be able to afford it? I think most people will be able to afford the food. Here's the thing. Americans are spoiled. They're paying for their cars. They're paying for their student loans. They're paying for their credit card debt. They're paying for their hair. They're paying for their nails. They're paying for all of this
Video
fun
games.
stuff. Vacations, everything. You're not going to have that stuff. That stuff will go to pay for food. I still don't think food's going to be outrageously expensive, at least for another year. Maybe it will come. I'm not saying for sure it's not going to happen, but it'll be probably a year before it even gets that bad.
We've never really had to pay, how do I want to say, use a majority of our income to pay for just the necessities half the time. It's usually the fun stuff that we're used to paying for.
But here's the rest of the question that I didn't finish reading. My daughter and her family went to our local pizza place for pizza and wings, and it cost $57 instead of $25. You're not going to go out to eat.
You won't be doing that kind of stuff.
You're going to stop it all.
See, what everybody's trying to think of is how can I keep doing everything that I'm doing now the same way? And, you know, make do. You're not going to be able to do that. Your life is going to change. So it's not that we're not going to have the stuff. It's just that you're going to have to change and adapt for the stuff you do have or will have.
The cost of rice is going to go up as much as the cost of prepared pizza.
Well, yeah, Mike said the cost of rice is not going to go up as much as the cost of pizza at a restaurant. You got to get if you got to live on rice and beans, you're going to have to live on rice and beans.
Yeah.
Now, if you get your Dining on a Dime cookbook for 25% off right now, you're not going to have to live on rice and beans. That's why I wrote the cookbook, because I got sick of Dave Ramsey always telling people to live on rice and beans when you didn't have to. You don't have to live on rice and beans if you cook at home and shop sales.
Yeah, most people have a long way to go before they're down to that point because, like you said, they're going out for pizza or, you know, you're doing your hair still, or you're buying video games, you're going to movies, or just you're buying food this junk food that you don't need to have. So there's lots of ways people still have to save before it gets super bad for us as far as what we've seen in people spending money.
Denise said gallon of milk is $4.79. I couldn't believe it. Outrageous. Yes. So in that case, when milk is on sale, $1.77, was it last week? I think here I buy it, I put it in the freezer and pull it out when I need it. That's
you can
how
freeze
I do
milk. You have to just shake it up when you take it out to use it.
I buy seeds just once a year whenever I need them. This year I'll buy them now if they have any left, just to have them for next year, just in case. But yeah. Will I be making soap again? Not anytime in the near future. Thank you everyone who liked my soap. I'm so happy you have it. I have a ton of soap. I need to sell some of it, but I don't want to get into that. So I will be bartering soap. If the fecal matter hits the oscillation unit, I will be bartering soap. Can you elaborate on the sugar-free? I don't eat sugar, period. No, nothing. No honey, no corn syrup, no nothing. No sugar at all. I haven't had anything sweet except for sugar-free jelly beans and sugar-free licorice drops for 3 months now. And I'm not saying it's easy or fun. Sarah, oh, wait a minute. Okay, got that one done. Next one. Misty, very surprised to hear Christian ladies say that you are not happy. I find happiness in everyday blessings God has given me. I didn't say I wasn't thankful.
You're grateful.
I didn't say I wasn't grateful. Just because I don't go around saying, oh, ha, ha, ha. I don't have that in me. I don't know what's wrong with me. Something's missing in my brain. When I had my kids, let's start from the very beginning. When I got married, I was like, okay, I'm glad that's finally over. When I had my kids, I was like, okay, they're cute, but take them away. I'm tired. So it doesn't mean that I'm not a Christian. It doesn't mean that I don't see things and think, oh, that's pretty. But, to sit there and say that I just go around and I'm happy all the time. No, I don't have that feeling in me. So I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just call me Job, call me Elijah, whatever. But
you're not mean and hateful all the time either.
No.
Or sour or anything like that. She's just, I think, just kind of normal.
No, but anyway, Let's see. Can you talk to Tammy wants to know, can you talk to those of us who are trying to be more domestic at home cooking that we have not done this to the extent before? Well, I mean, you just got to do it. You got to start. It takes practice. Mm-hmm. You got to keep trying. If you make the cookies and you burn them, do it again. If you make the pie and you burn it, do it again. It's cheaper to make 10 pies practicing and have them all fail, and then the 11th pie onward work, than to even buy one store-bought pie.
And I had this saying from this old lady that I read about one time. She said, somebody asked her how she became such a good pie baker, and she said, well, what was it? She baked a pie every day for like 20 days or something like that, and that's how you learn to do it, you know. So you practice. It's a lot of practice. Yeah. And just doing it, like Tawra says, you just kind of get up and you start doing things.
Okay, back to the happy thing. No, Jackie, when my kids were born and when I got married, I was not happy. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those people that did. I honestly thought when both of those occasions were done, I was like, I am so glad this is finally over. I'm tired and I'm glad it's done. But okay. I wasn't like upset about it.
Let me clarify here. Our lives, I think, are different than some people's lives too.
We have a lot going on in our life.
We've had a lot of painful stuff. Since Tawra was little, her dad left home. I had to work 2 and 3 jobs. We had no money. And then she married Mike. And I don't mean that to sound bad. But you know, it's just like it's been their daughter when she was born, it was a nightmare. She was throwing up and sick, and Tawra had to sit up all night long with her for
weeks on end,
3 months or something like that.
Weeks on end.
I'd have to get up at 5:30 to go over there, give her a little break. She had another toddler. This is our continual life, the way it's been for years. And then we were sick. She was even sick with a chronic illness at that time. So it's hard for people to understand. She's never come home from the hospital with a brand new baby to this wonderful new house, you know, that she could just put her feet up and giggle and play with the baby all day. It was a living nightmare having sick children. It didn't mean we didn't love them. We were excited to have them. That's not what she's talking about. It was just beyond exhausting, you know. Even at the same time, when she was expecting for the baby that was sick, she found out her brother was paralyzed, and you know that his baby had just been born 2.5 months earlier. You know, all this different stuff at different times. But this is the way our life goes on constantly.
Well, and I can honestly, I think it's just stress. I think I'm just stressed out all the time.
All the time.
I am never without stress. Literally, I can't even remember as a child, not ever having stress. We were cold, or we were dealing with family members, or we were dealing with my father, or we were dealing with school. My entire life has been nothing but stress. Mm-hmm. I mean, to the point where I've even been diagnosed as having PTSD because that's just the continuation of my life.
Something all the time.
I can say that the only time you're going to laugh at this. You want to know the only time I didn't feel stress? Can either of you guess? Mm-mm. Nope. Not even then. The only time I have never felt stress was when my daughter was born and she was in the NICU.
That's right. Yeah.
That is the only time I have not felt stress. I did not have to worry about food. Mm-hmm. I did not have to worry about taking care of anyone. All we had to do for 10 days was sit at the hospital and just wait for her to get better. And I wasn't even stressed over the fact that she might die or could die. I would have been sad, but I wasn't sitting there thinking, oh, she's going to die. 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 And I don't sit there and ruminate those, like we know people who will just sit there and just in their minds keep stressing and stressing and stressing. Oh, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that? I don't do that. It's things that are happening to me that are causing the stress. It's being sued by your in-laws. It's taking in a grieving teenager when you have 3 other teenagers at home. It's dealing with continual car breakdowns when you were only making $30,000 a year. You couldn't pay for it, So it was always those kinds of things. Now, I would say my life right now is probably the least amount of stress I've had, maybe. But there's still stuff like with the business, we have to deal with stuff all the time with the business. Mm-hmm. Like we're trying to get this other channel going up because frankly, we're tired of doing prepping videos. I'll be honest with you, but it's paying the bills way better than anything we've ever done. So we're going to do it at least until the house is paid off.
And part of it too is, I was the same way. Part of it, when your kids are all away from home, you have different seasons in your life and things will change a little bit. I felt the same way up until the kids moved out, and kind of when we moved to Idaho, there was a little bit of pressure off of me because I didn't have that continual responsibility of kids coming home late at night, worrying about them, not worrying, but, wondering if something's happened to them, or do I need to go haul them in because their car broke down or something. So you go through different seasons in life, and that's Tawra hasn't got to the comfortable little section yet. Well,
and Susie says, oh shoot, it went away. She said right here. Well, I don't know if that's who that was. Anyway, she said, didn't you get away to Steamboat Springs one time? Yes. So we had 4 car accidents. I mean, let me put it in perspective, guys. In 3 years? So in 18 months, we had 9 car accidents in our family. In 3 years, we'd had 11. During the time, we were being sued by my in-laws, and we had my grieving niece come to our home with 4 other kids, her 2 cats, my cat and my dog, nobody getting along. And so, so one of the car accidents, I got a $1,500 pain and suffering payout. Well, that was only part of it. I took $1,500 of that. And Mike, very graciously, he was like, yes, go. And I did go to Glenwood Springs for a month because I was like, I can't go. I just can't do anymore. And he's like, okay. But you know what happened when I got there? Pinterest decided to change their algorithm. And at the time, the $35,000 a year we were earning, or $40,000 a year we were earning, that was all going down the toilet because all of our website traffic was coming from Pinterest. So literally while I was on that trip, our business decided to completely tank. So while I was on vacation, I was sitting there going through a Pinterest class, trying to refigure out what we can do to get Pinterest up. Come to find out we couldn't. And that is when we got back was when we were really starting to do the YouTube then. That was when we decided to switch over to YouTube. And God showed us what to do. Mm-hmm. And it significantly increased our income. So it's not like it was a bad thing, but it's just things keep happening. I'm not kidding. When I say, if you guys actually knew what was going on in the background, you would have no idea. Stuff that's going on with our kids, stuff that's going on with family members, stuff that's happening to us, like car accidents and stuff like that. You guys have no idea the stuff that we go through in the background. Now, since we've moved to Idaho, it's calmed down a little bit, but Wyoming, but we still have some major things that have been happening here. And so, I'm not saying that to complain by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying that's why I'm stressed all the time. It's probably why I can't say I'm just happy. I don't get that. So anyway.
Well, and two, if you think about it, Job, he was having so many things happen. I'm sure he wasn't, chipper happy all the time. Sometimes things, you just have long stretches and things.
But I'm
very
still thankful. I mean,
Yeah,
every
and-
day I'm thanking God for the things
and
that he's given me.
I don't know if you caught that or not, but Tara said, God still took care of it and showed them what to do. Her faith is intact totally. I mean, she still has faith in God. And in some ways, I think these things have made her stronger in her faith, much stronger. And so in a way, it's not such a bad thing. It's almost a good thing, because even though things are kind of hard here on this earth, she's earning stuff for heaven. And, she has strong enough faith that she knows God's going to be there. Even if she's worn out, even if she's tired and things are happening, he's going to be there, so it's not all a bad thing totally.
Yeah. And, someday if Mike's parents die, we may say the whole story of what happened with that. Or if some of my kids die, I may share some of the stories that we have gone through with them for some of those things. But, some of this, guys, is we're sort of a public figure, I guess you could say. And I'm just not going to go spewing, all of our family's things that's happening to them or happening with them that's affecting us or whatever. We don't share all of that for obvious reasons. So anyway,
they try to respect Michael's folks and stuff.
Yeah, and our kids, we don't share everything with our kids that's going on and stuff like that. So Jane, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And I saw somebody else gave money for Bibles. Thank you very much. If you guys need a Bible, right here, we give free Bibles, livingonadime.com. Go to the shop, click on free Bible, use the code if you can't afford it. And thank you.
So if you have a life like Tara's, this will help you.
Yeah. Oh, and that was another question. Somebody said that I didn't mean to skip over. Do I do a daily Bible study? What devotionals do I use? Yes, I try to read my Bible every day. I don't read it every single day. I probably do 6 days a week, 5 to 6 days a week. But I don't have a study or a plan. I just sit down and read when I get a chance. Usually now, it used to be when the kids were little during their nap time. And then it used to be in the afternoon nap time. And now it's more in the evening before I go to bed. I just do it when I can. I don't have a plan or anything. Honestly, sometimes I'll decide just to read a whole book of the Bible. And sometimes I'll just open it up and see what's there. And I'll just start reading that. Sometimes if there's an issue in our life, then I'll look up certain verses and I'll research it that way. So I don't have any plan. I just do it.
And we don't have an exact Bible study, but we do listen to a lot of pastors that teach, on different things.
Yeah.
Both of us do.
Jim says, happiness is an emotion. God gives Christians an inner peace and joy regardless of circumstance. I mean, I would say I'm a peaceful person.
Yeah.
You never know it sometimes on the show when I'm getting on to people. But
she is peaceful.
I don't go around yelling at my kids
No,
all the time or anything like that. I mean, I don't know.
She's more peaceful and, comfortable, and that type of thing. So
Kara says, spiritual issues often affect the body. Had unforgiveness in my heart towards a pastor's wife who abused me for 15 years. Meant a lot when y'all shared about forgiving your child's attacker. Forgiveness equals freedom. I mean, you cannot hold on to unforgiveness.
Yeah, I'm glad you told everybody that, because that will help somebody else to know that it really does work.
Yeah. And Jennifer, who's been with us forever, she says, thanks for the advice. A few years ago, I got my rear off the couch and in gear. I stopped making excuses, slowed my spending, and I started watching my kids at my house to earn money. Very good.
Jennifer's always done really good. We've always enjoyed Jennifer.
Bounty, we get one paycheck a year. In the fall when we sell our calf crop. Budget is critical. Yeah, people don't realize when you're self-employed, you got to make do. We will make $100,000 in 2 months, but that might have to go 18 months. You don't know what will happen. Supply chain issues. We pay for our own books. We have a massive amount of we could pay off our house almost with the amount of inventory that we have right now. Well, we need that inventory to get our business continually going. We can't put that on our house. It's not just free money. You have to keep your business going. So like with farmers and that, they get paid once, maybe twice a year. You have to budget it out. We make sure we have enough money for our living expenses. And then if we have extra, we'll do some fun stuff or pay off the house or whatever. But you can't just go, when people, drives Mom and I nuts, when people get their tax refunds and they go buy a brand new TV and furniture.
It's like
Stop
that's
it.
free money, so I'm just going to go spend it.
It's not free money.
Yeah, you need to pay off those debts first. You can do that if you got everything paid off, but you've got to budget and not budget, but you've got to use that money for a practical thing until you have them paid off.
Jane says, a millionaire in my neighborhood told us to pay off the mortgage now. Yeah, I mean, I would do what you can to pay off your mortgage.
Get that mortgage paid.
Yeah. Doodle Toot, how do you roll out the perfect pie crust? By the way, your pie crust recipe in volume 1 is of your cookbook right here, is the best I have ever made. It is the best pie crust you will ever eat. If Mom's pie crust, I hate pie crust, and I will eat Mom's pie crust. I mean, you will go to a restaurant, that stuff is nasty. I don't see how people spend $25 on a pie that tastes nasty. Let's see, I was trying to find what page it was on, but I can't remember. So how do you roll it out?
I'm not sure what you mean by how do you roll it out. I just take a
rolls it
rolling
out.
pin. Yeah, just roll it out. And I usually make it about 2 inches bigger than what the pie crust, the pan is. But you just, you
Make sure your water's cold and your house isn't hot.
I do, but I don't worry about, a lot of people put their pie crust in the refrigerator and make sure it's really good and cold. This pie recipe in here,
It doesn't.
you don't really need to do that. Now I'm careful with how much flour I use. This is why the pie crust tastes chalky and stuff. People put way too much flour on the board when they go to roll the pie crust out, and just use a light hand with the flour, just enough to keep it from sticking. And you just have to keep turning the rolling pin and just keep rolling it till it gets rolled out as much as you can.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain without demonstrating it, you know.
Yeah. And by the way, when I was talking about Barbara's bubble bath, thank you. I don't remember the name. I think it started with an M. I'm really sorry. But I got the depression cookbooks for my birthday. Thank you. Mom does not get to look at them until I look at them.
I was going to say, didn't know she'd gotten those.
My birthday. It was my birthday. Thank you very much.
See him as soon as we go in the house, guys.
Monique, how did you balance homeschooling with chronic illness? I did not homeschool. Mike did it. So he was working a full-time job, homeschooling the kids, being sued by his parents, 9 car accidents. Our brother-in-law died, and our niece came to live with us, and this was our life. And
a partridge in the pear tree.
and we were driving kids. This is no exaggeration.
This was a nightmare.
Driving kids 7.5 hours a day to school, only to school. My son, my husband, and I, between the 3 of us, 7.5 hours a day we were driving to school. That's why we had so many car accidents, because we were driving, and none of them were our fault. None of them was our fault. The last 2 were our 2
Colorado,
teenagers.
and it's pretty wicked in Colorado now with accidents.
So, yeah, it's a wonder I'm even sitting here today, to be honest. That's a miracle from the Lord right there. That's how you know God exists.
I'm sorry. The bottom line is we've never had kind of what I call a normal life. We've never done things just like normal. I don't think we have we? Normal people, you know. Our lives are just a little bit different. Not that I would recommend it for anybody necessarily.
Yeah. Pedro says, Joe, we've been doing what you say. We bought a house in an expensive city and sold it and got into a cheaper city and did this twice.
To go.
Now, selling our SUV, getting a cheaper, smaller car. Very good.
Very good. Yeah.
Rachel, are all your kids at home? I have 2 kids still at home. But only 1 in school still. Let's see. Everyone likes the new kitchen. Thank you, guys. And if you want to see cooking on the stove, it ain't going to happen. You want to know why? There's no plug. So right now it's decoration. It has been 3 or 4 months since we asked an electrician to come out and put in a plug.
Can't get them.
Even contacted him several times, finally just gave up. So we're like, well, we're not doing cooking videos at the moment, so we're just going to let it sit there and look nice. But thank you guys. I'm glad you like it. Have I never experienced pure joy? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know what. Okay, let's just look up
Every now and then,
definition
Yeah, she has.
joy.
She just isn't thinking about it maybe at this time.
A feeling of great pleasure and happiness. Well, I would say I've had a great feeling of pleasure. I don't know if it's pure joy, but I mean, like when I get a gnome for my birthday, or
she does.
I get a gnome for Christmas, or I get,
A gnome.
or they have buy one get one free plants on sale at Home Depot.
She does get.
But I mean, I think that's, I guess that's happy, I suppose. I don't know, but I don't really think about it. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. Our mailing address is Living on a Dime, P.O. Box 6837, Sheridan, Wyoming, 82801 for Julie. So thank you for whatever you're sending us. And I got lots of cards, guys, for my birthday, and I keep forgetting to bring them out to the studio. Thank you so much. I got
You
a
guys
lot
are
of them.
so
Mom got
good
them.
to us.
Thank you
really
so much.
are, yeah.
We really do appreciate them.
We do. I enjoy.
Um,
We both enjoy the stuff so much.
Sue says when my kids fought, I made them hold hands the entire day. It worked.
Oh,
Might work.
my mom used to make us give each other a hug. That was the most torturous thing.
Yeah. Susie, we retired and a husband just won't quit spending. Our debt is pretty much paid off though. Only have a house payment. Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. He needs counseling or whatever, but if he's not going to do it, there's nothing you can do except go in maybe for marriage counseling. I think that's irresponsible, but you know, if he's going to do it, then, and I know he thinks he deserves it because he worked for all these years, but if you didn't work enough to be able to spend at that rate, you don't deserve anything. Nothing. You don't deserve the boat. You don't deserve the truck. You don't deserve the ATV. You don't deserve whatever, the snowmobile. You don't deserve any of those things. So, you know, sorry.
If you can't pay for it, you know, it has nothing to do with what you deserve or don't deserve. It's everybody deserves everything, but if it's a matter of what you have the money for.
Yeah. Retro favorites, cloth diapers. Remember those? Yeah, I used cloth diapers with my first two kids. That's how we got by on $20,000 a year.
And I had to dry all of them on my radiators. Every time I did a little diapers, I had to hang them on I had these old-fashioned radiators. I had to hang them out all over on the radiators.
Yep. Rebecca, thank you for the $10 super chat. And Samantha says, my family went into super saver mode to stack up money to buy land. Just started last month, and we haven't eaten out. Good job.
Very good.
Barbara, again, we love you, Barbara. Do you save your seeds and then try them earlier to germinate prior to the coming season? So I do save my seeds on some of my plants. Like if I have heirloom tomatoes or heirloom whatever, I save those ones. And a lot of flower seeds. I save a lot of flower seeds. And then I just plant them in February, March, whenever the time comes.
You have started them in the house, though, before.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's why I said I start them in February, March. Yeah. Julie, oh, never mind. Okay. Oh, thank you. Julie says you're still able to use my house in Bella Vista, Arkansas. We are 1 hour, 15 minutes from Branson. Lots of tourists. Oh, thanks. Kenneth, before living on a dime, I had to eat out. You would not have wanted my cooking, but now come on over. See?
Oh, good job.
You're a perfect example.
Yeah, very good. You learned to cook out of it. The recipes are really good, but they're easy to make. You know, it's basic, but yet it has fancy, nice dishes in a sense. You know, they're not the French fry stuff. Everyday cooking.
Mike, send over any more questions. Hello, Bandana Grandma. It's good to see you
hi,
on
Susie.
here. Sorry, I'm so far behind. I'm trying to get through these as quick as possible. Let's see. Donna says that's why India and other countries that had mandatory organic farming, their yields dropped. Yes, that is why I'm not a fan of organic gardening at all. Talisha, Tara, thank you for saying you were not stressed when your child was in the NICU. I've never told anyone that. I feel bad that it's not true, but it's what kept my son alive. Yeah, I was not stressed when I had, even mom watched BJ for like the first 4 or 5 days or something. But even when we got BJ up there with us, I still wasn't, it really wasn't that stressful. So,
But that, again,
yeah.
I think is when you have the faith, like what Tara does, you don't panic over stuff quite so much or become quite,
Yeah.
you just,
I guess.
you
I
know,
just have been through it
whatever's
all.
going to happen.
It can't.
You know what's going to happen. Whatever's going to happen is what's God's will in your life. And so why worry about all this stuff?
Well, and I would say the worst thing that could happen is one of us could get really sick with cancer or heart disease or something, and we'd be disabled and we have to take care of them again. Well, okay, but we've already been through that when I was 15 or 16. So,
things like
I wouldn't want to do it. I'm not saying I want to do those things, but at the same time,
you just continue with life.
Is this the short version or the long version?
I was going to say, when Ellie was in the hospital, we saw God move really strongly in a lot of ways, and that was kind of helpful too, because we had to give her to Flight for Life. I had to give her to Flight for Life in the middle of nowhere at a Crop airport in a blizzard, and I was thinking, well, Lord, she's in your hands now. And he kind of spoke to my heart. She's always been in my hands. Mm-hmm. And after that, I was very calm about that. Then we got to the hospital. We had no money, but somebody showed up there, standing there waiting for us, who said, hey, we set you guys up at the Ronald McDonald House. And we had no idea where we were going to stay. We didn't know that was going to happen. And then we didn't
have money to pay for a hotel.
Yeah. Then we had a car breakdown, and the Ronald McDonald House told us, hey, just let us take care of that. Just give us your keys and we'll take care of that. And we went back to the hospital. And so later they said, oh, here's the address of where your car is. We go there. The place is called Divine Auto Repair. I go in because it seemed like a pretty serious problem based on what I knew about.
We had no money at that point. We were living on $20,000 a year.
And what I knew about cars, I was pretty sure it was going to be very expensive repair. I went in and I said, hey, what was wrong? And they said, oh, we just took care of it. And I said, well, how much is that going to be? And they said, oh, it's nothing. Here's your keys. I was like, what? And so just
to put it in perspective,
thing after thing happened during that time that made me really, I think all of us recognize God is moving powerfully in this situation.
But to put it in perspective, it was going to cost us $10 a night to stay at the Ronald McDonald House, and we did not have $100 to stay at the Ronald McDonald House. And something came in while we were there when we went to go pick up BJ from mom to take him up there, and we were able to cover it. And so, I mean, that's how tight we were.
We just kept seeing those things, though, over and over. And it was real obvious that he was there. And I think that was one reason why we didn't really have that worry in that situation.
We've had so many of those things happen like that. We just, we learned to just not be anxious or worry about things.
Yeah. And so, and those are stories, you guys heard Penny Pinch and Mama stories, but you haven't heard Mike and Ice stories from stuff like that. And so we have probably now is not, I mean, some of them aren't as well. The court thing was pretty bad, but, we've had similar things that we haven't talked about on there, but, so, BJ and Ellie are doing good. They both live in Colorado, so thank you for asking on them. And Dave and Jack are both doing really well. And let's see, there was something that, oh, shoot. Let's see, did you have any more questions, Mike?
I sent you an email with 5 questions.
Okay, let's see. Oh, crud. There was something that I was going to say. I thought it was important. Do you need to stand up?
No.
Let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay. Pure Kitsy says pure joy is chocolate payday bars.
Oh my God. I love
Get
both.
thee behind me,
I
Satan.
love both so much.
Okay, I have no idea what this name is. Pula pot. I don't know what that means, but she says her hubby is addicted to our cookbooks. Thank you. 25% off right now. Michael put them in there.
You guys
it's more
are so
than a
good to
cookbook.
let us know.
It is a cooking encyclopedia.
It really
that will
is.
help with your life also. And we have a lot of good.
It's
tips
not one
in
of
there,
these
so.
cookbooks where it has a picture of the thing and then just simple little recipe. It's chock full of all kinds of information.
And well, before I forget, people are getting their planners for 2023. These are undated. You can get them now and start using them now or wait till 2023. But I only have a limited number and I'm not reprinting for 2023 for those of you asking. Tara, would you ever go back to work or do something else? I mean, I probably would never. Well, I'm not going to say I'm never going to work for anybody else if I needed to. But I would probably just do something like my soap or something like that, or just recipes or something like that.
And you've always enjoyed being a homemaker.
Well, I mean, if Mike died or something,
Yeah,
and I had to.
Yeah.
I mean, although we've got life insurance and all that, so if Mike dies, I'm going to be
if
happy.
She doesn't have to, yeah.
I'm only kidding. No. I mean, we have that this is where we spend our money. So we have life insurance on Mike. So we don't go out to eat. Instead, we pay for life insurance. You know, those are the kinds of things that you have to set yourself up so that I'm not a widow without any money. When we were making $20,000 and $30,000 a year, we made sure we had the money to pay for Mike's life insurance because he didn't get it through the company. Because I was sick and I had anywhere from 1 to 4 kids at the time. There was no way I was going to be able to make it if something happened to him. As a matter of fact, I kept telling him, if you get hurt and disabled, I'm going to kill you. Because if you can't work, you're worth more dead than alive. But, you know, I mean, you know, seriously, people will go out to eat one meal that costs them the life insurance and they won't pay for the life insurance. And that's just flat out irresponsible. And thankfully, Mike loved us enough and was responsible enough that he wasn't going out to eat at lunch on his lunchtime. Instead, he was paying the life insurance, where all the other guys were going out spending $10 every day eating lunch. So, you know, and he bought it when he was like, what, 28 or something. And so it's been a cheap deal until, what is it, next year? I think we're going to have to. But, you know.
Well, so you need to kill him now then before next year. Is what.
Kimmy says, watch out, Michael.
That's what I'm saying. You've got a year or less, Michael, now.
I have to survive until September.
Yeah. He said he's going to survive until at least September. We get to see Kimmy in 6 weeks. We're going to spend our whole time talking about YouTube stuff. Dude's trying to figure out this stupid YouTube
business stuff.
Oh, if you guys knew how many hours I spend staring at statistics, trying to figure out what videos to do. I just want to stab myself in the eyeballs. All right. Are we working on a new cookbook? No, I started gluten-free, dairy-free too, and I gave up. I was just like, we're out of here soon. So
it's a
lot of work.
A lot of work.
We were in the middle of moving. I was trying to do, I don't know, I might start working on it. This new recipe channel that I'm working on, if it takes off, then I might do another cookbook to go with it. But the new recipe channel is going to be just promoting the cookbooks, but we'll see. So I don't know. Long-term care insurance, is it worth it? Oh, okay. I don't know. It used to be really worth it, and then they stopped paying because so many people were living so long that it wasn't worth it. So I don't know. You'll have to research that one for yourself. Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping I'll just be dead before then. But
what I kind of think of is my house is totally paid off, and it's worth enough that if I had to have long-term care, the kids could sell the house and use that money for a very long time for me in long-term care. So that's how I kind of did mine. So I got the house, but if I need long-term care, then it'll be covered, something like that. So you just have to take your situation and figure it out.
And guys, I know I'm sitting here lecturing you. I'm lecturing the people who have the money and are spending it recklessly. I totally understand. There are situations like Mom's situation when she was raising 2 teenagers on $500 a month. She did not have money for life insurance. She literally had no money left at the end of the month. And I totally understand that. So I understand not everyone can do that. Mm-hmm. We're talking to the majority of Americans who just need to get their act together and stop wasting money. So I totally get that. Don't think that I'm saying that, if
and
you
a lot
can't.
of our people fall into the category of being wise with their money and doing the best they can. And that's what we're here mostly for, is to give tips on how to do that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people, they don't recognize that they should stop having their nails done.
Or drinking Starbucks. One Starbucks every day for just 10 days will pay for your life insurance.
Yeah. Or paying $50,000 for each spouse to have a car. And then you say, well, I can't buy a house. This is no fair. Why can't I buy a house? Well, maybe if you weren't making such big car payments, you could put that towards a home, So that's the type of person we're talking about.
Yeah. And never, ever, ever get a reverse mortgage. Ever. They're just stealing from you. Mm-hmm. If you think you need a reverse mortgage, you need to just sell your house and take the money and use the money from your house, because it better be paid off. If you're that old by that time, you better have your house paid off.
Yeah.
And so never, ever get a reverse mortgage. Just sell your house and get something you can afford, or move in with family, whatever.
I know it's kind of late for some of you that are watching us. You're already in retirement. But if you're not in retirement yet, learn from your older generation's mistake and get that house paid off, get the debt paid off, because then when you hit retirement, you can easily live off of what your retirement is. But if you don't have those things paid off, you're going to be in a pickle, because you won't be making, that much money. So,
okay, let's see. Somebody was talking about Clara for her depression cooking. Guys, that's what these recipes are.
Yeah, they're the same things.
The same recipes from my grandmothers and Mom and me. Everything we use for that. And Happy Camper says, make your own coffee. Yes, do that. And for those of you worried about Mike, he's worth more live than dead now, just so you know.
So he's safe for the moment.
He is worth more alive than dead. And by the way, the man does the dishes.
Yeah, so he's a keeper. He's a total keeper.
So I'm not going to oust Mike anytime soon. If you go tonight, I'm going to kill you, because then I'm going to be investigated, because all these people are going to contact the police and say she was talking about killing him. One
thing about our book and talking about the depression, cooking and stuff, if ever you see these these cookbooks that were written in like 1940 or so, and they're big, thick things that have all this information, that's basically what this book is like. It's just like those cookbooks from the 40s and 50s, that have all these instructions on how to do things and different kinds of stuff. So.
Sandy says a good video editor is best alive. Well, guess what? He doesn't edit the videos.
I do anymore. She does.
So I'm the one who's done all the video editing for 2 years now, since COVID started. That thing started. I have been doing all the video editing, but he does. I mean, you guys have no idea what goes on with the website. Like last week, he was dealing with hackers hacking our website up till midnight, trying to get them to stop. And this went on for 2 weeks or something, and they kept taking down our website. And so all the behind the scenes stuff for that kind of thing with the website and those kinds of things, he does it. Deborah, I want to know what product you buy that makes your nails grow. Tell me what it is, please. I have the biggest problem with my nails growing.
Now, the powdered Knox gelatin, I bought in the big, that worked. But the problem with that for me, it caused me to have leg cramps.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's why I had to
just take potassium with it?
Well, I was taking with my vitamin, had a whole bunch of potassium. So I don't know why that happened. And I couldn't figure out why I was having leg cramps all of a sudden. And I had to go without it for a while because I ran out. and the leg cramps went away. And after a couple of times trying this back and forth, I figured out it was the noxious gel. But it did. If it doesn't bother your legs, it did help with hair and nails. But let us know if you've got something good,
let me
because we
post what
both
it
have
is.
trouble.
Post what it is. And Sandy says, okay, Tara, since you're the editor, you can stay on.
She does a really good job of editing too.
So we and now I'm editing for 3 YouTube channels.
Yeah, she's got 3 channels. And you guys wonder why she's not going on vacation and having a relaxing time. Mike and I holler at her all the time that she needs to rest a little bit more. And she's getting better. She's getting better. She's hiding out on the deck. I'll call, and Jack said, let's see, I think she's hiding from us, but she's on the deck. So that's not a very good job of hiding if they know exactly where to find. You don't give her to. I know. Mike doesn't give her the phone. So.
Let's see. Liz, thank you so much. She said, for letting us know. Music Mad Liz said she's in New Zealand, I think. I can't remember if it's Australia or New Zealand. I think it's New Zealand. She said, things have happened. So many good things have happened for me since we shifted to get closer to the medical needs for her husband. I'm truly blessed each and every day for the wonderful people. It makes unpacking easier. Yay! I'm so glad. I know that was really stressful for you. So thank you for letting us know that.
Yeah.
How do you preserve vegetables and fruits in the refrigerator to keep them from going bad? So what you do is you eat the vegetables and fruits that are going to go bad first. So like if I go once a month shopping, I'll get carrots, apples, oranges, bananas, grapes, strawberries, whatever. So the strawberries and the grapes get eaten first, and bananas get eaten first, and then we go into the apples and whatever later. So you just eat it. That nail magic. Do we know what nail magic is? I've never heard of nail magic. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. She's looking it up right now.
Well, there's like 4 different ones. Which one do you use? There's like, they're all different packages too. So tell me which one you use.
This is stuff you put on your nails then, and you don't eat something.
Apparently. Okay. Well, that's what I need. Let's see if she says, we're going to stay on here until you say, because I'm ready to go. Mom's legs are probably going numb, right?
No, it's fine.
We need to go get your Amish chair. So tell them about the Amish chair. So we went to.
Goodness.
So while she's putting in which nail thing, we got to tell you about going to the Amish place.
Oh, this was so much fun.
So we didn't know this, but there's a small Amish community not too far from us, and they have a store, and they were having an open house, and so we went to that. So go ahead.
Oh, well, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I went up to the Amish town in Kansas by us, and for the first time, they had, I went to their furniture store. They make really good furniture. And so I was just getting tired of standing waiting for my friend, so I pulled out one of the dining room chairs and sat down in their dining room chair. I thought I had died and gone to heaven sitting on that chair. I've never experienced anything like it. You sit back, it's like you're floating. You're not even sitting on anything, like you're on a cloud or something. And I know I ranted and raved to the kids how much I loved this. I didn't even feel like I was sitting down. It made my neuropathy better. And I kept talking about this silly chair, and it was like $265 at the time. And you know me, any of you that's been with me know I do not spend money very much. I buy all my chairs at garage sales. I just don't do anything. I said, I am this far from saving my money and getting me one Amish chair to sit in. And so I've carried on for like 2 or 3 years. Well, Tara went and tell them. Now you tell them.
Okay. I have never in my life ever crossed my mind to spend $3,000 on a table and chair set. Ever.
No.
I need a car. I need a new kitchen. I would not spend $3,000 on a kitchen table and chairs.
Comes home with $10 dining room tables and chairs.
Oh my goodness!
Oh,
she wasn't kidding.
See?
They were super comfortable. I don't know. It's the way the back is.
You can
somehow.
sit you can't even feel it on your. It supports your back, and And even we went later to someplace else, and Tara said it at a garage sale. And she said, well, this isn't too bad. I said, but it doesn't support your back like that. There's just some, oh my goodness.
But now they're $325 at this place. And so we were like, but we might just get one for the studio because Mom's legs go numb when we do the show. And so we were thinking about just getting one or two for the studio. But then I'm like, well, if we're spending $650, we might as well just spend $3,000 and get the whole thing.
I was even egging her on about getting one. Let's see, how can we come up with the money to get this?
Well,
these chairs?
I've never had a really nice kitchen table.
Yeah, that's it. She's never bought expensive furniture.
$20 garage sale that I've refinished the top, which I mean, I'm okay at that stuff, but I'm not great at it. And so I was just like, oh man, this would be so nice. The kids are gone, although I'm the one that ruins the furniture more than the kids, but the kids are gone. I wouldn't have to worry about them ruining the table or anything. And they had one on clearance for $2,000. And I was like, I texted Mike and said, do we really need a car or could we get a table?
What I love is they've laughed at me about these chairs. Like she's going crazy. She's, out of this. She's just insane. And now,
as a matter of fact,
need to believe their mother once in a while, don't they?
I'm going to go back next week, I think, and see if they'll let me interview them. I have an idea for some shows if they'll let me interview them. And I'm going to have another seat and see what I think. I don't know. We need a car, so I'm not going to buy it.
I don't think we've ever been so tempted to buy anything like we were these chairs.
I did look online, and we could order them online. So I'm like, well, I might just order them online if they don't do that. But I was like, oh, man, I don't know.
They were nice.
So Lynn, she says, I take magnesium every day, and I still get restless leg syndrome. It's not, magnesium helps. That's not how you cure it. You want to know how you cure it? Get a massager from Walmart, like the body for your arms or whatever, and run it on your calves every day, as much as you can stand it, for 2 weeks. Do that every single day, and that will take care of it. I guarantee it. Same thing with plantar fasciitis. It will take care of that. I had both of those horrendously. And we discovered when Mike would rub my calves, massage my calves, my restless leg went away. And then Diane, $10 for the chair. We were begging for a chair, but thank you, Diane. We were just saying, but thank you. Diane's been with us forever. Thank you.
Oh, you guys are a crack.
We do save up for these things.
Yeah, we do. We didn't just buy it on the spot. Of course, I don't think anybody could have bought it. They didn't take cash or a credit card. I mean,
they didn't take credit cards. Yeah.
Is what I mean, or debit cards.
It's a good thing in this case. And so my restless leg went away when I started getting my calves massaged regularly. I mean, I would jump on the bed or my legs would just be jumping all night long, drove Mike nuts when we were first married. And he started rubbing my calves and it went away. So get yourself a massage gun, sit with our YouTube channel, go through some videos. And the same if you have plantar fasciitis, because a lot of people have that. Getting a divorce settlement and wondering if I should rent and put money in a 401k or buy a house and pay cash. I would buy a house and pay cash.
I would buy a house.
Yeah. I would. If the economy collapses, your 401k's gone, but
people
your
don't
house
realize
will be
you
paid
can
off.
lose those.
Yeah.
You really can. They make them sound real secure, but they aren't.
Okay, did we catch the polish? I did not catch the polish. Hold on, let's see.
Did we miss it?
Sandra says diatomaceous earth makes your nails grow. Really? I didn't know that.
Tara uses that for
I use it for other stuff, just not for my nails. What's the difference between the old cookbook and the new one? Nothing except 40 new recipes in this edition. And this is a totally separate cookbook from this. So they're two different cookbooks. This is volume 1 and this is volume 2.
Totally different recipes.
25% off right now. Where? It's the hardener, Deborah says. Nail Magic Hardener. Okay, we're going to give this a try. We're going to see. Medical necessity for Jill. Yeah, actually, we probably will buy one or two for the studio just so that, because if we keep going this long. Good affordable water filter. Kelly, go type in on Living on a Dime on YouTube, DIY water filter, and we have it right there for you. We made it all for you. Okay. Repeat what to rub on my legs. Get a massage gun, you know, the kind that you just use for your muscles, like they use for workouts or whatever. They have them at Walmart. And just run it up and down your calves, around your ankles, the bottom of your foot, and up and down your calves, and that will take care of restless leg and plantar fasciitis. Guys, I had plantar fasciitis so bad that when here's another thing. When all that court stuff and car accidents and driving kids 7.5 hours a day, my plantar fasciitis was so bad, I honestly thought I was going to be in a wheelchair. I really did.
Yeah, she did.
As a matter of fact, I was to the point where I couldn't hardly walk at all. It was hurting so bad. And I honestly thought I was going to be wheelchair bound. So I got the massage gun out because we use it for my fibromyalgia. And I did it for 2 hours, morning and night. I watched an hour video in the morning and I watched an hour video at night in between driving kids around. And I ran that massage gun up and down my leg. And in 2 weeks, I completely cleared up my plantar fasciitis, and it has not come back, and it's been 8 years. So that
she had
got to
really
relax those calf muscles. You have to relax those calf muscles. Well, now Deborah says it's the strengthener. Is it the hardener or the strengthener?
Maybe you should just use
Maybe
both.
Mom will get the strengthener and I'll get the hardener, and we'll see.
Although my nails have been doing pretty good since we moved here, and I can't figure out why. These are all my nails.
I wonder if the water's got more minerals.
I don't know.
Because you don't have a filter.
I don't have a filter, so
we have a filter.
it might be the water or something.
Okay. Last ones. Oh, yes. Guys, I'm telling you, it will cure your plantar fasciitis. I'm not kidding. Yeah, if you can pay cash for a house instead of renting, I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. There aren't Amish folks in Massachusetts. No, but you can order online apparently. So then it makes you wonder, are there really Amish? If you can order it online, are they really Amish?
But they do sell their stuff online now. They're allowed to do that.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Trisha, do you massage your foot or your ankle for plantar fasciitis? It's your calf that's actually the problem. But I do my foot and pain relief. But it's your calves that are the problem.
And on the chairs, ordering them online, I would be kind of careful because, you know, we sat in these people's chairs, so we know what they're going to be like. And so I would be a little bit leery about ordering things online for something like that.
Well, they did look the same, but
yeah.
I was like.
But I think if we talk to our Amish people here and find out from them that they are exactly the same, that would help.
Yeah. What was I going to say about the CDC?
Oh.
Okay. I'll say this and then I'll go because it's just going to blow up after I say this. 2.5 years. They have ruined people's lives by doing all these masks, all these mandates, all this other baloney. 2 years. 2 years. Let me show you something.
Did you? But they brought it out at a time where there was other news events going on, so they kind of just
2 years, 2.5 years
posted this,
so
nobody would notice these things.
A week ago, now the CDC says, and I don't have all the facts straight, but basically, you don't need that thing.
Yeah, they said it doesn't.
You don't need that thing. If your kids are in school, oh, well, they're fine.
Mm-hmm. You can send them to school.
2.5 years. And you want to see something? Look at this. Okay, so we're pretty sure we got that thing again 3 weeks ago. That's what I got on my birthday. Okay. I'm still not over it. I feel like I was going to throw up before I came on the show. Honestly, it's the Lord keeping me going. Mom thinks she's got it again. Dave got it, which is why we went to the doctor yesterday or whatever, 2 days ago, whatever it was. And then we went to Walmart because I wasn't going to pay $100 for that test at the doctor's office when I could pay $20 for 2 of them at Walmart. Well, for work, he needed, they didn't ask for it, but I just felt more comfortable him doing it. So they knew that he was really actually sick. I mean, he's really sick. But then they come out with this new recommendations, and it just happens to be that somebody's place is getting raided by the FBI, so it doesn't get all over the news.
The
Look
CDC
at
stuff does
this. Okay, so Wyoming cases right here. You see this right here. This is now. This is the same time last year when they were throwing such a hissy about everybody getting that thing in their arm. Look at that. At least 1.5 times more. And now we decide to take away all the mandates.
They said they said you don't need to do anything. Just wash your hands. And if you're feeling sick, stay home.
I have been saying this since April of 2020. This has nothing to do with science.
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
They're
if you
backpedaling.
lost someone to this disease, I am truly sorry, and I am not making light of it. But that same person probably would have gone from the flu, which, by the way, just disappeared the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not making light of anyone who had issues, got sick. I totally understand that. Something similar to us, we got the flu in 1988.
So we understand it's not fun.
And we never got better. I get that. But to call this a pandemic, to call it the same as the Spanish flu and all this other baloney was a bunch of lies. And now I have been proven right once again.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely infuriates me. I keep telling myself I'm not going to do a video on this, but I might do a video on this. But it just absolutely infuriates me.
And
it had nothing to do with science.
What upset me was they turned everybody's lives upside down. People lost jobs, people that
ruined their lives.
Became depressed, and people were killing themselves. They lost children and spouses because of that. And it was unnecessary. And
why is it the death rate? They're not talking about this, but the insurance, what was it called? Anyway, the insurance people who do life insurance and all that stuff came out 6 months ago and said, guess what? There's a 40% increase in deaths in 2021. Any coincidence that all these people were getting that thing in their arm? There is I'm sorry. They absolutely ruined people's life for something that was not science. And people just rolled over and took it.
People were so worried and anxious, like my mom. She didn't want to go to the hospital for anything or to the doctors not because she was worried about catching it, but she just said the doctors, you had to wear the mask, you had to do all this rigmarole, and that stressed her out. So she just didn't want to go for any little thing. She just wouldn't bother to go for something she should have, probably went in for. People didn't want to go to the hospital because they were scared, from this stuff and all this type of thing that they'd make them get the thing in their arm and thing. Even the military. People don't realize this. The military is just lowest ebb it's ever been because they're forcing the men and women to get the thing in their arm, and nobody's wanting to chance it or do it. So now they're not able to recruit anybody. It just filtered into everything, everything.
And I'm sorry, but 40% increase in deaths, and nobody's talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in 2021 to cause all these people? Guys, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's absolutely huge. And yeah, they conveniently were listed as heart attacks, cancer, diabetes for all of those deaths. Isn't that convenient? I'm sorry. I know Jesus is coming soon. And I know that voting a particular way is not going to save us. Let me tell you, Jesus is the only one who's going to save us. But why am I harping on this? Because for 2.5 years, I've been saying over and over and over again, this is a farce. I am a housewife from Kansas. And all I had to do was look at the numbers and see how bad what actually was. And it never got that bad. I found it amazing how in 2020, 21, that thing going around, woo, the flu. Where did the flu go? This is not rocket science. But why am I harping on this right now? Because people gave in. They got that thing in their arm because they were scared to lose their job. I don't blame them. But let me tell you, if you would have your finances, and I understand not everybody can do this, but if you would have had your finances in order, if you would have had your debt paid off, if you would have had your savings so that you could wait out 6 months of living expenses, you wouldn't have had to worry about getting that thing in your arm to lose your job. You could have said, got news for you, so long, suckers. Because you had your ducks in order. This is why we keep harping on this. The majority of Americans, I'm on a roll tonight.
I guess you are.
I don't know what I took before the show because I'm not kidding. I was about to throw up.
I can't even pop in there and pull you out.
Spirit of the Lord.
I can't pull you out of this. Mike, you want to come over here and try to salvage this?
But this is why we keep harping on this. The majority of Americans did not have to go through any of this stuff if they would have just had their finances in order.
I know.
If they would have stopped buying the cars that they can't afford, if they would stop paying for their kids' college, that's a huge waste of money. If they would stop going to Starbucks, stop going and getting your nails and hair done. And I know the majority of our viewers aren't like that. I totally get that. I know that's not you. But that's why we keep harping on it. Because when other people who are like that come to watch us, maybe they'll have a wake-up call and realize they don't have to have their life completely ruined by some stupid government mandates that don't help anything.
Mm-hmm.
So even though times are getting tough and inflation is starting to get higher, I mean, I would say we're probably at 20-30% inflation now, at least. Probably 30% is what I would say. But guess what? It doesn't have to ruin your life. Yeah, it's not going to be fun, but it doesn't have to ruin your life. Get your act together and you can weather the storms. Mom was able to live on $500 a month. Why? Because she had no house payment, no car payment, no student loans, no credit card debt after she paid off my dad's debt. She made it. Mike and I made it through several $1,000s worth of medical expenses with our daughter on $20,000 a year. Why? Because we were working on getting our ducks in order. We didn't have credit card debt. We didn't have car loans. We didn't have student loans. We had our house payment, but that was it. So,
well, and two, what I think about is everybody just kind of went along with this. I know how we felt. We felt like there was what are we supposed to do? But it's like
the first 2 weeks, first 2 weeks, everybody was like, okay, what's happening?
Yeah.
And I was cautious and I was glad they canceled school. But I tell you, on April 1st, when the numbers really started coming in, we were looking at
That's what I was going to say. I was able to look at the numbers and see, and why wasn't everybody else looking to say, okay, something's fishy here. And, and if your work said you needed to get a shot, maybe if everybody at one time would stand up and say, I don't know, it's past, so we can't figure it out. But it was really bad and it didn't have to be. It really was.
It didn't have to ruin everybody's life.
Yeah. And a lot of people reacted in fear, anger, anxiousness, worry. And that's what I was really concerned about. I had friends that were literally curled up on a couch in the fetal position with like 5 masks on at home by themselves. They were just terrified. They would go to the grocery store and they when they finally would get out of the house to go to the grocery store, they'd pop open their their trunk thing and let the guy put the stuff in the groceries in the trunk. And he accidentally started to cough. And she jumped out of the car screaming at him, "You get away from my food. What are you doing putting my food in the trunk of my car?" And you coughed. This is the reaction of what was normal, a normal, sane person at one point, and people were reacting like that. I went to a grocery store to Aldi's one time, and there was a woman in there. There was like 10 people in there. We all had masks on, and she started screaming bloody murder. Why isn't everybody wearing masks? And there was nobody without a mask. I mean, it was just a mental, the fear and the anxiousness and all that just sent people over the edge. We don't want you to be afraid of what's coming up with what's happening with the food stuff and the prepping stuff. Don't be afraid like that, because you can't think rationally to deal with stuff, take control, and fix things. And that's what happened with this. Everybody was so afraid. Nobody could, take control, and just were fearful all the time of something that just really shouldn't have been.
And somebody said, when we went to the doctor this week with Dave, did they make you wear a mask? They didn't ask, but when Dave gets sick, he gets this horrid cough. So I had him, and he wanted to put one on just out of respect for people.
But she would have done that if he had pneumonia or something like that.
It wouldn't have been anything. And quite frankly, I didn't think he had that thing going around, because the symptoms are different with this round. So when he tested positive, I was a little shocked, to be honest. But now that we know that this is just a different thing, but it's common sense.
It was just reasonable thinking that she did.
It's like the new variant that's going around. You know how you take care of it? You marry, if you're a woman, you marry a man. And if you're a man, you marry a woman. That's how you don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
This is not rocket science. I'm sorry. There are consequences for sin. Pregnancy, that new thing going around, STDs, take care of it by getting married.
God gave us
to the opposite sex.
God told us not to do these things because he knew what they would do to us and for our own protection. And we just thumb our noses at him, and this is what we want to do, so we're going to do it. And if this happens, then they get mad at God for what's happening in their life. Well, he tried to tell them, like a parent would tell a child, don't go jump in that water, you'll drown. But the child goes and does it anyway,
I know. Wanda said, I can't imagine if we actually had a true pandemic.
Yeah.
People are going to just be hysterical. Yeah. I mean, that's what's going to happen in the tribulation. The Bible says people are going to die. Their hearts are going to give out due to their fear. Now, I don't know where the verse is. Go look it up somewhere. I'm not good at memorizing verses, but it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
this
fear
whole time
did more damage almost than anything else.
Yeah. We did wear masks because it was the law. And if we were required to go into a store or something, we would, but we did it very rarely. Mm-hmm. And, it was we were trying to be respectful of others, but there was no way. No one in my family got that thing in their arm. I'm like, no, you do not trust this. It's only been out 6 months. Nobody knows what will happen. This isn't the same as polio vaccine that's been out for 75 years.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
And so, it's the end times, guys. The Bible says God is going to give us over to deception. You see it every day.
Yeah.
People are absolutely being deceived right and left.
Tell them what deception is. It's being told something that's not quite the truth. It's just kind of on the edge, but not.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
Might be the truth.
Sounds really enticing and good. Like, oh, this will work out great. But it's not the total truth. And you fall for it without looking, checking into it. And we're supposed to discern the spirits to tell if this is good or evil and really check into these things. I don't care if it's reading a book, watching a movie, what to do with the money. If you give me your money, then I'm going to do this for you. You have to learn to have discernment on all these things.
And if you have cancer or some illness or something, immune illness or something, I have no problem with you wearing a mask. I don't care if you wear a mask, actually. What I care about is when everyone else is forced to wear a mask when they don't need to. Mm-hmm. I find it real interesting that it's my body, my choice when you're murdering your baby, but it's not my body, my choice when I want to wear that and get that. Just saying, there's a double standard there, mm-hmm. and that's nothing but hypocritical. So anyway, Jesus is coming soon. If you don't know Jesus and you need a Bible to help you get through the next thing going around, we give them away for free. livingonadime.com. Go to the shop. Mike is putting a link in there for you. Please use the coupon code. And we will do that. We will answer this question. What is a woman? It is a person who can have babies because she is a female in the Homo sapien. Is that what we are? What are we? In the Homo sapien. What are we? Huh?
Creatures.
And you have an innie and not an outie. You were born with an innie and not an outie. We'll put it that way, shall we? For our viewers that are under the age of 16, sorry about that, guys. I didn't give you a warning. Have mercy. I mean, some days I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. I seriously do. I seriously do. livingonadime.com.
I better close before it gets worse.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye, guys.
We're going to go home and go to bed.
Oh, bye-bye.
Mercy. You got to stop it, dear.